If you've ever been on hold for 45 minutes or more before finally getting to talk to somebody, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back. Thankfully, that's behind us. That was yesterday's task. Today, more market focused. We're going to go over all of the news. We're going to break down some different charts. It's a T3 Tuesday, so we're going to have some more trading ideas for you today. Day 2 of the week here. We are ready to go. Benzinga's pre-market playbook for Tuesday, July 8th starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Happy Tuesday. I hope you all had a wonderful opening to the week yesterday and a wonderful Monday evening. We're back for another market day here, and we are one day closer to the July 9 deadline. We had some sweeping tariffs talked about yesterday. We're going to cover all of that here today. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Paul, good morning. Welcome back. Great to see you as always, my man. Jane, good morning. Welcome back. Mama Bear, welcome back. Good to see you. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. Welcome back. Sunkissed Yogi's locked in. Good morning. Ryan, good morning. Welcome back. Rooster, Chuck, and Empyrean, good morning and welcome back. Crimp Biscuit, welcome back. We are going to check out Proc. Don't worry. Proc is the top mover. It's no longer in penny territory, so don't worry. We're going to check that one out here today. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Producer, welcome back. I'm glad you've cooled off, producer. Just running hot. Seahorse Trading, toasty Tuesday here in Chicago. You know, I'll tell you something. First of all, awesome that you're in Chicago. Yesterday was just such a relief from some of the heat that we had. Now, it is supposed to get hotter here today. I'm doing my best to roll with windows open, no AC. We'll see how long I can do that. It is going to get toasty here today. Good to see you, Seahorse. Day Trader, good morning. Welcome back. Kerching. I have to. Your name is just so awesome. I have to hit the sound effect. Good morning. Welcome back. Graph, welcome back. Hunter, it's great to see you as always. Day Trader, early start here today. Need to drop half an hour before the market opens. All good, my man. Good luck with everything that you got going on here today. Billy mentioning NDRA, also on the movers list. We're definitely going to cover that. Billy, good morning. Welcome back. Buffalo by Bicycle. Yes, Stock Nerd is a badge I wear with honor, by the way. Welcome back, Buffalo. We're all stock nerds here. Big Bees, good morning. Welcome back. Sergeant Sexy, good morning. Welcome back. JJ, good morning. Good to see you. Wiss, good morning. Brian, good morning. Brian says, yesterday was the first day I've missed in a while. Missed y'all. Brian, thankfully, I'm one of the cool teachers, and I don't take attendance, so I don't dock you points for missing. All good, brother. Hopefully you're doing well. James, good morning. Greater, good morning. Zach, good morning. Austin, good morning. Paulo, Dong, and Kevin, good morning. Chris, Dave Trader, good morning. Pete, good morning. Locked in there. Billy, we're also going to cover Wolf. That was trading up after its Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Oy vey. Durkis, good morning. Jeff, good morning. Brim for breakfast. Okay, good morning. Fog, good morning. All right, let's go ahead. The host might not take attendance, but the producer does. That's news to the host. Good morning, Zoo. It's great to see you. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the SPY. We're going to break down some of the news before we have our T3 guest here today. Good morning, Dan. Good to see you again, as always. Glass half full. Absolutely love it. Here's your chart for today. Now, we've been on a huge run here recently in the SPY. Yesterday, we pulled back 1%. So stop the presses because we pulled back 1%. I know. Sometimes we have these minor pullbacks here. I know for whatever reason, yesterday, every position that I had, except for Costco at the end of the day, was down. But this comes after a pretty huge run, so not the end of the world. Now, today here, S&P futures up by 0.06%. They were actually up a little bit more a second ago, and looks like it's traded down to the bottom end of the range there. If we look inside on the SPY chart, this is what I'm talking about. We were a little bit higher, gapped a little bit higher. We're kind of trading back and forth here, still holding higher here. Dow futures down 0.1, and the NASDAQ futures up 0.2. So pretty close to unchanged. Not really breaking down or anything. Oh, let me get rid of the chat overlay here. Not really breaking down, at least not yet. We'll see if we end up getting that here today. The little on the day, back to the daily chart here, the little bit of a pullback pretty much brought us back to where we were at on Wednesday. The pullback yesterday, the bottom of the candle actually brought us to, I believe, the closing price or the high price on on Friday. So not really a whole lot of not really a whole lot to go over here. A little bit of a pullback after a run. I think the market is like day traders, still just kind of waiting till tomorrow to see what happens, and we'll kind of go from there. At least that's what it feels like here to me. I would love to see what else you guys think about the SPY here today. As far as the economic events, you know what? We can actually go to the morning update. We have the consumer inflation expectation. We have the 3-year note auction. And as the producer mentioned, we might have truth drops throughout the course of the day. There were a couple of IPOs to talk about here today, or to just at least mention. TLIH, that's 10 League International Holdings, that priced between 4 and 5. That IPO's here today. And then MSGY, Mason Glory Limited, that priced between 4 and 6. And that IPO's here today. As far as conferences go here today, the fireside chat for LEU, that's going on here today. LEU has been a huge winner in this group, almost printing 200 here. I know Jay Rice is on vacation. We'll see if Lion joins us here today. But LEU, they've got their fireside chat here. The Leerink Partners Therapeutics Forum is here. I'm not sure we're going to get much movement out of that, but that's pretty much what's going on. One of the other things I wanted to mention had an analyst initiation here on UWMC. So we've been talking a lot about the housing trade, the housing market. We've discussed the open rocket leap swing that we have here. I know several folks have actually bought the stock for Rocket. So UWMC kind of fits into the same thing here. This is a play on the mortgage business really kind of taking off, especially if we get rate cuts. They get an overweight rating from Barclays here with a $6 price target. That stock's up a percent and a half here today, holding right at about $4. Flutter also got a buy. This is in the gambling space. This is the FanDuel parent company. I know we often talk about DraftKings when we talk about gambling trades. Flutter is actually a better performer. They got a buy here from Jefferies, $380 price target. That's 95 points higher than where we're at here. Part of me wonders if the better trade here is a little bit earlier in the summer. I know we've kind of looked at these gambling trades as the NFL season starts in a couple of months, 53 days, 52 days. Someone check me on that. Actually, it might be in the 60s. Someone check me on how long till the college. Yeah, it's college that starts in 53 days or 52 days, and NFL, I think, in 62, 63 days. Someone check me on that. Anyway, I'm not sure if that trade leading into the football season is the right move. We might actually have to buy that a little bit earlier. And as far as earnings go, we do have AEHR. This is reporting after the close here today. I know we've been talking about that one recently. So let me know if we get any of that, or if any of you are trading that, excuse me. Coors, C-O-R-Z, got a downgrade here today. It's a neutral from H.C. Wainwright. You know, there's a lot of talk about Coors. Recently, they actually had a really great guest on here this morning that was dropping some pretty awesome stats on Coors. I grabbed them just to share them with you here in case anyone wasn't watching that here this morning. We talked about Coors, C-O-R-Z, really kind of selling off right after the CoreWeave deal. And I know that there was, some thoughts about, well, why is this? It's normally when you have these takeovers, there's a premium, the stock goes up. This stock did the opposite, dropped pretty substantially, down 17.6%. You can see we did actually just kind of hold the 20-day. We're kind of just sitting right in here. But the deal means that they really can't sell or work with anybody else here. That's Coors, C-O-R-Z. They have to work with CoreWeave. CoreWeave secures the contracts to make sure they have the needed energy to grow their business. That's why they ended up doing this. And then the analyst went on to say, CoreWeave borrows at 12% and returns at 5%. So if you were to just scale up that business, it's not very good, right? You're paying more to borrow money than you're returning. So it really depends on whether or not things change, the profitability changes here, but that might be, as reality sets in, that might be why we saw CORZ take such a significant pull on the back of that news. Now, we are up by just about 1% here in the pre-market, so it'll be interesting to see if the sentiment changes here on cores, especially since we did trade down and test and hold that 20-day moving average. So we'll see what the volume looks like here today, but maybe cores is going to be in play here today. Okay. Let's go ahead and go through some of the news here real quick. We mentioned a little bit about the tariffs there, which is kind of what's driving things here today. U.S. stocks likely to open mixed as Trump issues those tariff letters that we've been talking about. President Trump announced sweeping 25% tariffs on all imports from Japan and South Korea, and letters sent to a total of 14 countries. He posted all of that on Truth Social. Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba has since voiced his dissatisfaction with Trump's decision to impose 25% tariffs on goods imported from the country, calling it, quote, truly regrettable. The one thing that I don't really think I've heard anybody talk about, whether they're, here in the chat, guest, on TV, if tariffs are just a tax and they're just paid by the company that the country that puts them on, why are the other countries so against it? Just out of curiosity, I can't. No one really seems to talk about that. They don't really square that. Anyway, 10-year Treasury yielded 4.41 and the 2-year 3.90. That actually ticked up a little bit. Hopefully that moderates a little bit here. We talked a little bit about the cores and the CoreWeave merger that we got yesterday. It really kind of sank cores. And then let's go here for some insights. So BlackRock shifted its investment focus from traditional macro anchors to mega forces like AI, believing these will be durable drivers of returns in both near and long term. This tactical change comes as long-term macro stability wanes, yet the firm sees no need to reduce risk. Instead, they view AI-related investments as, quote, a new anchor for returns, end quote. This is bolstered by immutable economic laws that limit rapid global change. Okay, this strategy keeps BlackRock risk on and overweight U.S. equities, anticipating solid corporate earnings despite potential growth dents from tariffs or caution. So despite all of this, BlackRock telling you here they are overweight equities. Interesting to see how this shakes out here. Louis Navellier of Navellier and Associates said that the tariffs are roiling the markets again. Quote, tariffs are back on the front burner as the July 9 deadline is upon us. Rumors abound on pending agreements along with threats if trading partners aren't responsive in a timely fashion. But after the first 90-day delay, expectations are that nothing particularly painful will persist for long, and that the saber rattling will continue. Navellier also highlighted that since the date for actual tariffs increase has been pushed to August 1st, for now, we're seeing some modest hedging taking place today, which isn't particularly painful given the recent new all-time highs in stocks. So this is kind of where I want to set up the discussion here. If we're negative on what's going to happen here, and tomorrow is the July 9 deadline, and then we have the August 1st deadline when they actually start, who here is preparing by either hedging your long positions or straight up buying short instruments, whether they be puts or actually shorting here? Let me know how we're playing for this. Are we thinking that, this is a time here, especially as Navellier says, we're up near all-time highs. Maybe it's really not that expensive to hedge right now. Are we building short positions for a potential down move in U.S. equities here as we get closer to some of these deadlines? I'd like to know how you all are positioning for that. To take advantage of that. I think that would be interesting. And I think, we'll see what we get here tomorrow, but I actually think we might have some more time before that August 1st deadline. Now, just some more color on some of those tariffs. Trump's surprise tariffs just crushed Japan's stocks. The U.S. dollar is notching its strongest one-day gain against the Japanese yen in nearly 2 months as traders react to President Trump's sweeping new tariffs targeting multiple U.S. trading partners. Starting on August 1st, all goods imported from Japan and other Asian trading partners will face a 25% tariff, Trump announced on Monday, citing persistent trade imbalances and unfair practices. The move follows a 90-day pause for negotiations that fell short of providing a better outcome than the Liberation Day duties on April 2nd, and now the fallout is landing hard. The dollar surged past 146 yen, gaining 1.2% on the day, the sharpest move since May 12th. In an official letter to the Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, Trump stated that the new tariffs aim to address what he calls, quote, years of Japan's tariff and non-tariff policies and trade barriers, end quote. He also warned that any retaliatory tariffs would be met with proportional increases by the U.S. and said transshipped goods would face higher rates. He also offered an out. Japanese companies that move production to the U.S. won't face tariffs, and he promised quick approvals for those that do. According to the international trade statistics data, U.S. imports from Japan totaled $152.07 billion in 2024. With vehicles accounting for $51.27 billion and machinery, including nuclear reactors and boilers, adding another $36.05 billion. The White House stated that the tariff levels could be revised based on bilateral trade relationships with the goal of reducing trade deficits and protecting U.S. national security. Some more color on some of the other tariffs that we got here. South Korea will also face a 25% tariff starting in August under the same terms as Japan. The dollar gained 0.9 against the Korean won in the session, reinforcing the greenback's strength amid heightened global tensions. Several other companies were also named to the tariff list, including Malaysia, which got a 25% rate, South Africa, which got a 30% rate, Kazakhstan, which got a 25% rate, and Laos and Myanmar, which got a 40% rate. The White House said tariffs could still be adjusted higher or lower depending on the strength of the relationship with each company. Really quick here, this really just kind of puts the nail in the coffin. These are clearly being used for negotiation purposes. Investors are now watching closely to see how Japan, South Korea, and others respond, and whether the European Union, facing a similar deadline this week, becomes the next target in Trump's trade war. Meanwhile, the messaging for markets is clear. Tariffs are back in play, and the traders are bracing for more volatility ahead. I was hoping we were going to get a rhyme there with the tariffs back in play, but can't win them all. Okay. So let me know. One more thing that I just really quickly wanted to mention. I can't do this, or I should really quickly mention this. For those of you that are using Benzinga Pro, we did a really good job of outlining all of the different tariff rates in real time as they were coming out. And basically, we've talked a lot about how the search bar in Benzinga Pro offers a ton of filtering capabilities for you. But honestly, it was extremely easy. Just simply filtering for SPY basically had all of these coming in real time here. So if you use Benzinga Pro, trust me, there's definitely a way to manipulate the newsfeed to give you the targeted information as soon as possible. This was actually a pretty good example of that. Okay, next story here, and this will actually lead to a chart. I kind of did this for Izzy, our guy Izzy here. Bill Ackman, and actually, well, while we're here, what's the general consensus on Ackman? Do people like Ackman? Do they not like Ackman? Were you around for the whole Herbalife thing years ago? What do you think about Bill Ackman? What's the consensus on Bill Ackman? Bill Ackman bets over 60% of Pershing Square's portfolio in these four stocks. What four stocks are those? That's Uber, Brookfield, Restaurant Brands, and Howard Hughes. Tickers there, UBER, ticker BN, ticker QSR, and ticker HHH. Smell says, no, I don't like Bill Ackman. Okay, that's one there. Smell, you got Carlos Alcaraz coming up here pretty soon. Let me know what you think about that. Okay, anyway, Pershing Square Capital Management, founded and led by billionaire Bill Ackman, has a portfolio valued at $11.93 billion, which is concentrated in these four stocks at the end of the first quarter of 2025. The hedge fund, with Ackman as its CEO, had 11 holdings as of the most recent report quarterly period, which ended on May 15th, highlighted in its 13F filing. According to Pershing Square's net asset value, net asset value and performance report for June 2025, the fund's portfolio had no short positions and most of its funds were invested in large cap companies. The portfolio was exposed to various sectors, including consumer products, consumer services, financials, leisure and hospitality, technology, and special purpose rights companies. According to its 13F filings, the four major stock holdings in the foundation's portfolio made up at least 2/3 or 62% of the fund's holdings, valued at $7.286 billion as of the first quarter for the ongoing calendar year. As far as Uber goes here, Pershing Square has freshly acquired 30 million shares of Uber, making it the hedge fund's largest position at the end of the first quarter. The stock has advanced 53.05% on a year-to-date basis and 10.97%. I clicked off of that, which was stupid. 10.97% in the last month. Now, what's amazing about this is we've been talking a lot about Uber. There's been a lot of different thesis on that that's really kind of been driving this. Look at this Uber chart. Sure looks like there's more room to run ahead of this. Uber's snapping that trend line. This trend line, as a reminder, this goes back to February of 2024. This is really the upside boundary for Uber that it's really kind of obeyed for the last 2 years. Now we've broken out of that. We talked yesterday about the 100 magnet really kind of being in effect here on Uber. And I'll tell you what, any more trades up here is really going to make this look like a pretty good position. Ackman's long Uber. I know we've had a lot of folks that really like Uber here, both as a stock and I guess the service as well. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what kind of price targets you have for Uber. If you're taking this, where are you looking to sell? Where are you looking to sell all of that? Okay, Brookfield Corp. Ackman has been acquiring shares of the Canadian alternative investment management company Brookfield Corporation over the last year, with an 18% or 6.11 million shares added at the end of the first quarter. Its businesses are spread across several segments, including real estate, renewable power facilities, and infrastructure. The stock has gained 9.37% year to date and 7.42% last month. Restaurant Brands, he's holding 23 million shares. His ticker QSR. The fund has made no changes in the stock. It'd be interesting to see if how QSR performs here. This is not a stock that we look at very often. Here's what the chart looks like. Chart is actually in a pretty good shape. We've pulled back since the beginning of 2024, kind of gradually. It does kind of look like it's chopped around here, found a near-term bottom. Recently, and I mean like recently, we have recaptured a bunch of moving averages. We recaptured the 100, the 200, the 50. It actually looks like we gave up the 50, or we're giving it up today. Let's see. Yeah. No, this was from yesterday. So it looks like, yes, we did in fact give up the 50 yesterday. See if we can recapture that here today. But pretty interesting spot here on QSR. I got to think that they'll probably test that 70 level sooner rather than later. We'll see. We'll see how that all shakes out here. And then Howard Hughes Holdings Company. Remember this, he wanted to, here it says here, Ackman also serves as the executive chairman and company's board with an agenda to transform Howard Hughes Holdings into a diversified holdings company like Berkshire Hathaway. Sure looks like Ackman, I guess, trying to create the next Berkshire Hathaway. I'm not sure if he's going to be successful in that. Let me know if any of you like the HHH thesis there. But yeah, I wanted to, let's see, not a fan. Handsome and smart, but biased. Hey, Samel, I appreciate the honesty there. Glass Half Full says, who's Bill Ackman? Okay. Buffalo by Bicycle, ain't Ackman the guy that cried panic during COVID? And there were a lot of folks that did that. Bill buys options and then converts them to stock. Okay, so it looks like there's not the greatest feeling out there for Bill Ackman. So, okay, just kind of wanted to test the water on that and see how that was going. Next story that I have here, this is regarding OpenAI and NVIDIA. And I think we're going to keep looking at NVIDIA and a lot of these AI stocks over the summer. I don't think that's going to go anywhere and for the rest of this year. NVIDIA strengthened its partnership with OpenAI after the Chat GPT maker confirmed it has no plans to deploy Alphabet's in-house artificial intelligence chips at scale, despite a recent cloud collaboration between the two companies. We're proud to partner with OpenAI and continue powering the foundation of their work, NVIDIA wrote on X on Monday, citing a Reuters report that OpenAI rejected Google's tensor processing units, or TPUs, for large-scale deployment. OpenAI spokesperson, confirmed to Reuters on Sunday that the AI lab is conducting early testing with some Google TPUs, but no active plans to use them at scale. The company continues relying on NVIDIA's graphics processing units and AMD's AI chips to meet growing computational demands. This might also play into the potential AMD catch-up trade that we discussed last week. I know several of you liked AMD. Lion, good morning. I don't like the guy. And then I don't like the guy in caps, as if I didn't hear you the first time. Just kidding there, Lion. That's another negative there for Ackman. Lion, you did like AMD though, right? This actually pretty good news there. The statement comes 2 days after Reuters reported OpenAI signed a cloud services deal with Google Cloud in May, marking a rare partnership between two direct AI companies. The agreement provides OpenAI access to Google's infrastructure to support training and deployment of models like ChatGPT and reduces the reliance on Microsoft's Azure. That cloud business, really one of the big drivers there for Microsoft as well. Google has expanded external availabilities of its TPUs, historically reserved for internal use, winning customers including Apple and AI startups Anthropic and Safe Superintelligence. The custom chips offer Google a cost advantage second only to NVIDIA in performance, according to D.A. Davidson's analyst Gil Loria. By the way, this analyst, Gil Loria, this is the exact gentleman that I got the stats on CoreWeave and cores from this morning. This actually is one of the sharper analysts, in my opinion, on the street. Okay, still got some time here. Let me just roll through a little bit more of this. This one, an interesting one. I know we keep talking about some of these legacy tech names, trying to look for a trade there. Last time we traded Intel, it was actually not terrible. Intel shares tumble on the sweeping tariffs. Intel shares are trading lower Monday afternoon as markets react to the new global trade restrictions announced by the White House, and President Trump imposed those sweeping 25% tariffs on all goods made from Japan and South Korea. The broad-based duties, which come after a 90-day negotiation period expired without a resolution, adding to existing tariffs and aim to correct unsustainable trade deficits. In official letters, the administration noted the 25% rate was a moderate measure. The news sent a chill through markets, impacting multinational corporations like Intel that rely on complex global supply chains. Adding to investor concerns, the administration is reportedly preparing to restrict shipments of advanced AI chips to Malaysia and Thailand to prevent them from reaching China. This is something that we have discussed at great length in the happy hour, and one of the reasons why it's not just a tariff slapped on China, why they had to go to some of these other countries. As a result, the potential for new export license and controls on high-performance semiconductors cast a shadow over the entire industry. These dual threats of broad tariffs and specific chip curbs, combined with a looming tariff deadline with the European Union, are weighing heavily on sentiment for major U.S. chip makers. Now, if we take, let me go back to the actual chart here. If we take a look at Intel, here's what our chart looks like. Okay. And I think the most interesting thing here to me, as far as Intel goes, we still continue to trade sideways here. So I know we've had a couple of moves higher. And like I said, this has actually made for a fairly decent trade the last time that we were able to time this right. But we continue to not break down. So this $19 really kind of the line in the sand for me. I know we've kind of peaked below that a little bit, but this $19 really seems to be the huge support. If we zoom in to where we're at here today, you'll see that the most recent move up, we're almost looks like we're back testing this conglomerate of moving averages. We did on here on July 2nd, Wednesday, we actually back tested the 100 and the 200 and then held above both of them. We bounced the following day, drifted a little bit lower yesterday. Let's see what we do here today. But I got to imagine if we hold this area, and I would be mostly looking at 21 here, as long as we hold 21 or higher, I think the next step here is probably this 23.36. Call it 23 and a half if you want. And then maybe we can move higher towards 24, 26, and then maybe even $28-ish. Now, the 500-day is at 30.25 here. I would imagine a move up to this level would require a very significant catalyst. I'm thinking that it's more likely we get a trade here 2, 3, 4 points if Intel responds. If it holds this area and moves higher here, I would be looking maybe 3 or 4 points. If it's more than that, that'd be giddy up. That'd be a home run here for Intel. So let me know. Are any of you trading Intel? Lion here, nope. Intel might go to 15. Let me tell you something. If Intel goes to 15, I also think that's got to have a pretty significant catalyst, Lion. For us to break this 19 support, well, let me just say this. If we break this 19 support, I'm with you on that. I would just be waiting for this to really kind of bottom out. I'll be honest with you. I don't see that. I don't see that happening, but we'll see how it shakes out here. I would be more inclined to try this on a long side. One of the other things is we might get an idea from the options market on how they're looking at Intel there. But we'll see. Okay. Here we go. We can't have a story without Elon Musk drama, can we? Musk chaos could oust Tesla from the Mag 7, making way for Broadcom. So right off the top here, this is kind of what I'd like to understand from the group. How many of you, and producer, maybe we should put a poll question, a very simple one. What would you rather have in the Mag 7, Tesla or Broadcom? I'd be curious to see how the group feels about that. I would imagine we'd have pretty good numbers on both sides of that. But maybe we should do that as a poll question here. Anyway, come on, Papa. As the Trump-Musk feud shows no signs of abating and Tesla's stock has fallen more than 20% in just 6 weeks, questions mount over whether the electric car maker still deserves its spot among the elite Magnificent Seven tech giants. I think if you strictly view Tesla as an electric car maker, I think it makes the case to not have this be as part of the Mag 7 a lot easier. I think the reality here, though, is that Tesla is just clearly more than a car company. Just my 2 cents on that. On Monday, shares of Tesla plummeted 7.5% after Elon Musk announced his intention to form a new political faction called the America Party. Broadcom might be gaining momentum as a potential replacement for Tesla in the so-called Magnificent Seven, which of course includes Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, and Meta. Tesla has dropped to the 11th largest company in the world by market cap, now trailing Berkshire Hathaway. Not a shabby place to be in, but a move down nonetheless, with a valuation of $937 billion. Broadcom, meanwhile, has climbed to a market cap of $1.3 trillion. Making it the 8th largest globally and 7th in the U.S., right behind Meta. Broadcom has crushed Tesla on total returns over every key period here. So year to date, Broadcom up 18.5, Tesla down 27.5. 6 month, Broadcom up 18.1, Tesla down 28.7. 1 year, it gets a little bit more, 59.8, Tesla up just 18.8%. This is really the big outlier here. The 3 year, though, Broadcom up 505.9%. Tesla is only up 28.8%. I say only like that's a bad thing, but I guess if you compare 29% to 500 plus, I guess that's true. 5 year here, and you can see that these results just keep going crazy. 5 year here, Broadcom's up 876%, Tesla's up 263%. And then 10 year here, Broadcom up a whopping 2,467% to Tesla's measly 1,400%. I say that tongue in cheek because that's still a ridiculous gain. But what do you think here? Does Broadcom deserve that exclusive Mag 7 seat? Do we start looking at Tesla a little bit differently if it is replaced in the Mag 7? You folks let me know about that. And that raises the big question, should Broadcom replace Tesla? Musk's political drama adds to Tesla's slide. Until May of 2025, Musk was a major ally of President Trump, donating over $100 million during the 2024 Republican campaign and even leading the administration's Department of Government Efficiency. But everything changed when Trump backed the big, beautiful bill. And we should also include remove the EV mandate, a sweeping tax cut and spending plan Musk denounced as, quote, reckless. In early June, Musk launched a wave of attacks on Trump via X, accusing him of bankrupting America and calling for the bill to be scrapped. Trump fired back on Truth Social, threatening to cut off government support for Tesla and SpaceX. Just a month later, Musk escalated again, launching a new political movement known as the America Party, aimed at breaking the two-party system. The group is already active with Tesla CEO, Vaibhav Taneja. I hope I pronounced the gentleman's name correctly. That one's a tough one for me. Named as its treasury, according to federal filings. Now Tesla is more an electric car company. Tesla is more than an electric car company, excuse me. It's tied to a political campaign. Interesting. The risk many investors didn't sign up for. Now that part here is true. One of the discussions that we had in happy hour is, is this appealing as an investment? It doesn't even look like it's necessarily tied to Trump now. It looks like Musk is really just kind of diving more into politics with the creation of his own party. He did, of course, show a chart here that the debt climbs under both administrations, Republican or Democrat. Doesn't seem to matter, hence why he is creating a new party. Okay, and then next here, this might be one of my favorite stories here. By the way, we can go back and take a look at Tesla, the chart, if you want. We can also take a look here at Netflix if you want. I feel like we haven't looked at Netflix the last couple of days. I think we did a trade with Anne Marie recently. Nonetheless, this is the other thing I wanted to ask this group. How many of you are nerds like me and really like Shark Week? I got to be honest with you. Documentaries might be one of my favorite things on TV, and some of these different programs that they have on Discovery Channel, Netflix, History Channel, the whole nine yards, I really, really like them. Netflix quietly circles Shark Week with a killer new strategy. Fans of Discovery Channel's Shark Week are waiting till later this month, July 20 to 26, to view content as part of the 37th annual Shark Week. Ahead of this content, consumers have options to watch shark-themed content from streaming giant Netflix, another cable company. Netflix launched All the Sharks, a new reality competition on July 4th. The series features 4 teams of shark experts who try to photograph the most different shark types before the end of the competition. So, I guess this kind of sounds interesting. You can folks, let me know what you think here. Streaming company also premiered The Shark Whisperer, a documentary that is ranked among, why did you do that to me? A documentary that is ranked among the streamer's top 10 most watched films every day. Netflix will also have the streaming rights to the 4 Jaws films starting on July 15th, with the first film recently celebrating its 50th anniversary this summer. Pro tip, they've been playing Jaws a lot on television. I've actually watched the original Jaws 3 times this summer already. It's that good. SharkFest kicked off on July 5th with Sharks Up Close with Bertie Gregory. SharkFest is in its 13th season as an annual tradition of shark content from the National Geographic Channel, which is 83% owned by Walt Disney, ticker DIS. SharkFest will have more hours than normal, though, normal through July 13th with 25 hours, throwing another potential challenge for Shark Week. With Netflix's pushes for shark content and SharkFest growing, what once was a dominant week of content for Warner Brothers Discovery could face new fatigue. Content during Shark Weeks of summer have done well for cable television and could now face the challenge of fending off Netflix, who got a head start on the race. Last year, SharkFest had over 69 million views on content, including National Geographic and through streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu. Last year, Shark Week had over 25 million views of content on Discovery Channel and streaming on Discovery Plus and Max. Content for Shark Week ranked strong in the key age of the 25 to 54. That's the demographic I fit in, with shark content placing in 7 of the top 10 spots for the week for the ages of 25 to 54 demographic for ad-supported cable, excluding news and sports. Let's see. That was it. So let me know. Do you guys like Shark Week, the shark content? Are you folks like me? Have you watched Jaws a bunch this year? How many of you no longer go into the ocean because of Jaws? Just as kind of a side question there, I'd be curious to know. Okay, sorry for keeping you 8 minutes over. It's going to be time to go to our guests. Let's put our hands together for Sami Abu Saad from T3. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Sami, how you doing? Happy Tuesday, my man.
Hey, Ryan. Good to be with you.
Likewise, I love the digital background. Anything in space like that, planets, astronomy, I absolutely love it. Really good choice here today. Folks, join Sami's free webinar on July 9th, the big day. At 4:30, learn how to become an elite swing trader. Your QR code is at the top of the screen there. Okay, Sami, what do you got on deck for us today? Do we want to cover any of the stocks that you talked about last time you were on? Oh, it's been a while. I think we had you on in March. I think you were talking about China back then, maybe Disney, as I was just covering in the Netflix story. Do you want to cover any of those stocks, or do you have new stuff for us today?
Anything you want. I don't remember exactly what I talked about, but Disney looks really good. If you bring up the monthly chart, it's looking pretty amazing. China looks also very, very good. If you look at the yen monthly chart, hasn't gotten going, of course, but just look at that monthly chart.
Okay, so here's your yen monthly. So I'm guessing here that what you're thinking here is that this has based and we're just due for a move higher here, right?
Exactly. It dropped for so long, and then the momentum to the downside subsided, and now it's starting to look like it's looking up. Look at Billy, BILI, is a China stock also.
Okay.
So there's a lot of China names that look really good. Look at that Billy. It looks amazing.
Yeah, and actually it does look like this is going to try and curl up and break out here. Now, you said you didn't remember the last time what all we talked about. Thankfully, I'm here, and I do remember. We did talk about a lot of the China names last time. 3 of the ones that you had mentioned were Baba, YMM, and JD. Now, that was back in the middle of March. I believe that you had said that this was some of your best trades of the year going into that. Now, of course, some of these have pulled back a little bit, but you're outlining here a potential new setup. Is that right?
I mean, it's the same monthly setup. Baba popped really hard. I'm no longer in it, but the pullback on Baba doesn't look so. I mean, it's pretty deep, so I don't love it. JD is even worse. So there's some other China names that look much better. Why would I want to go back to those? So such as, like I said, Billy, EDU. VIPS, VIPS. So there's some China names if that's what you want to do. And I am in the yen. I'm as a disclaimer, I am invested in the yen. So we'll see.
Okay, now so that's good. So it looks like you made a whole bunch of money on some of the China names earlier in the year. You kind of waited out some of these down moves. Now there seems to be another setup here on some of these trades. You're picking some of the individual names as well as the levered ETF. Do you have any triggers here for these trades, or are these already triggered?
The Billy already triggered. The yen, I mean, I can give you a trigger right now on the yen, which is over $43. And then the stop on it would be under 37.40 as a long-term trade. So I absolutely love it. There's some other names that I didn't even mention, like EDU. I mean, there's some pretty good names. Some of them are late, but the EDU isn't too late. The Billy, I would wait for a pullback because it is a little bit late. Yeah, but I mean, there's some nice names, and it's not just the China stocks. I mean, there's some names that look good from U.S. stocks or gold and silver that look good. Really good long term as well.
What are some of your favorite names, or do you trade any of these ETFs for gold, or do you have individual names that you like?
We just got, I don't trade the ETFs so much, but we just got the target on the SBSW just yesterday. It's been an open position in the newsletter for quite some time. Look at that monthly chart, how it curls.
I'm sorry, what was that ticker again?
SBSW.
SB. Okay. I'm sorry. I heard SP. So, oh my God. So you said you look at the monthly chart on this one?
Oh. Yeah. And so the reason why I'm bringing it up is because we have is set up just like it in the AG. It's a silver stock in this case, AG, but the same kind of setup, exact setup on the monthly. Awesome. So I like the AG a lot. And then I have a trigger for you if you want on the AG.
Yes.
Yeah, the trigger should be, actually it's kind of triggering. No, not yet. So the trigger should be over 875 with a stop, is a tight stop under 775. So it's just a $1 stop as a long-term trade also.
Okay, awesome. That's pretty actionable too. So really good stuff there on AG. I like it. This chart actually sure looks to me like it's going to try and break out right here. So every time that we talk about metals, one of our viewers here reminds us what one of the king stocks are for metals here. So I'm just going to ask you if you like this, and then maybe if you have a setup on it. It's going to be ticker AEM.
So if you look at the AEM, lovely, looks amazing. Look at the monthly chart, but it's too far gone. It's already way up.
Gotcha.
If you look at the daily, it still is bullish, but the 20-period moving average on the daily went flat. So that tells me there's not much momentum to the upside at the moment. So why would I want to go there? Even though it is really bullish, it doesn't look very much different than the actual index. I want something that's actually just bottoming, that's about ready to rip.
Gotcha. So let me ask you there just real quick, and this doesn't necessarily have to apply to some of the metals there. Do you put more emphasis on a monthly or a daily chart, or are you basically looking at all of the time frames and then kind of making your judgment based on what they all show?
So if the monthly looks good, it means I can keep it long-term, like the SBSW.
Got it.
If the monthly doesn't look good and I just have a really nice looking daily, then I can just keep it for a few days as a swing trade. But if the monthly is set up and looks good, then I can keep it long-term. And that's what I actually gravitate towards.
Awesome. I absolutely, folks, this is gold here. Sammy, really appreciate it. Join Sammy's free webinar on July 9th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Learn how to become an elite swing trader. You're dropping gold nuggets for us right now. Absolutely amazing. What else you got for us?
What else? Believe it or not, I love Boeing.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, I love Boeing. I mean, there was that airline crash and it already is above where it was. I mean, it recovered. So that means the worst is behind it. It looks much higher to me, at least to 250. I love Gild or Gilead, Gild. If you look at the monthly, it dropped from 120 to 60. It based for so long and then it broke out. Now we missed the breakout. It already broke out, but it went sideways for how many years? I don't even know, 5, 6, 7 years. So, and it just broke out last year. So this should be much higher. So there's some names like that. There's another name that's actually currently bottoming, but it doesn't have an entry yet. It's AAP. It's AutoZone. I think it's AutoZone. Yeah, yep. Advanced Auto Parts. It's AAP. If you look at the monthly, the weekly, the daily, it looks good all around, but I'm just stalking it for an entry.
What kind of trigger are you looking for on this? Like, does it come off of the daily? Does it come off the monthly? I mean, on the daily here, it actually looks like we are within 50 cents of snapping above the 500-day moving average, which is what my purple line is here. That's just about 2 years of trading days for reference there. Do you have a trigger here on AAP?
Yeah, it's over 53.75. with a stop under $45. It's a big stop. I wish it was a tighter base on the weekly chart. But when I play long term, I don't want the tight stops because you can easily get shaken out of. If it's a swing trade for a few days, of course you want the tight stop. But if it's a longer term trade, you want the big stop so you don't get shaken out. And if the play actually works, you can always look to add to it. But if you get shaken out of it, you're not going to be there to add to the position.
Okay. Really quickly, I know this is Advanced Auto Parts, ticker AAP. I know we accidentally mentioned AutoZone there. That's ticker AZO. Just kind of looking at that, is this one is it not as attractive because maybe it's already kind of moved? I mean, just looking since June 26th, the stock is up, 300 points almost? Yeah, 300 points.
So if you look at, sorry. So yeah, AZO and Orly, ORLY, O'Reilly.
Yep. O'Reilly.
I mean, these are the leaders for sure, but they've already moved. So we're trying to catch something that hasn't already, that's not too late.
Skate to where the puck is going. That's what I like to say. Okay, really good stuff there. You know, one of the other things that we have kind of been talking about recently that you seem to be early on was real estate stocks. One of the ones that we have been talking about recently, a lot of us here on the program actually have a position here, lowering interest rates, which we're anticipating absolutely plays into this. We were looking at Rocket. Do you have anything in terms of real estate that you still like?
Real estate, let's take a look at. I thought Zillow would get to 100. It got just shy of 100. Look at the Zillow monthly chart, the pullback. I mean, that looks good. That doesn't look too bad.
Nope.
Rocket, I think, is it the R? No, that's pharmaceutical.
It's RKT.
RKT, let's take a look. If you compare Zillow to Rocket, Rocket is a much deeper pullback on the monthly chart. That tells you it's weaker. So I would go with something like Zillow. Okay. Redfin, I just want to take a look real quick. Redfin looks pretty good on the monthly. And Zillow looks better, I think. So those two look good. The Redfin looks very much like Lyft, Lyft. So those two I'm watching, but they've been weak for so long that I don't trust. So Lyft and Redfin look alike to me on the monthly chart.
Okay.
So yeah, another name that I really like that I'm already in is Twilio, TWLO.
Okay.
And look at the monthly. It had that. We played it last year 3 times on that move up, and now it had the pullback, and it looks like it's about to go back up. So I like the Twilio, and the tight stop would be under that little green bar on the monthly chart. So
sorry, let me go back. Yeah, I changed it too fast there. Sorry about that.
No problem. Yeah, exactly.
Write down this one or the
no, the little green bar, and the entry for it would be just over 125.55 basically. Okay. So it's a longer term play. It dropped from $400 something to 80 or 50, and then now it's starting to go back up.
Okay, awesome. Folks, join Sammy's free webinar on July 9th at 4:30 Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Learn how to become an elite swing trader. Your QR code is in the top. All right, Sammy, this has been awesome so far. Is there anything else that you want to mention here before we head off for the day?
One last name I can throw out there is Bitcoin, because it's been basing for so long at the all-time high. I'm not a fan of chasing something that's up 500% already.
Sure.
But it's been basing at the all-time high for so long. I mean, it's gonna break out soon, I'm sure.
Okay, so do you actually like trading the coin? Do you trade anything that's connected to this, like Coinbase or Circle or any of the?
Right, Circle looks pretty good. It's starting. If you look at the daily, there's nice rounding bottom. Coinbase is already too late, but okay. Circle looks pretty good to me. But in answer to your question, do I trade the actual Bitcoin or do I trade the ETF? The ETF. So I use IBIT.
Okay.
It's cheaper, easier, safer. You know, have access to my brokerage account every day. I don't need to go to the exchange. Basically, I don't need to go to my Coinbase account. Easier.
Okay. And then one last general question here, just because someone in the chat reminded me. We've recently seen a lot of these kind of smaller companies will release a PR saying that they're going to add either Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana to the treasury. It almost like they're trying to follow the strategy that MicroStrategy is using. What do you think just generally about this? If you have any individual names, we'll take them, of course. But just generally, do you like this? Are you bullish on this? What do you think about this?
So I don't know for sure, but one of the most recent names that said, oh, let's do the same thing was GME. Look at GME daily chart. It just broke down yesterday. Now, how do I know all of this stuff? Ryan, did we talk before this interview? We didn't. Nope. I'm a trader, so I'm familiar with all the names without even looking at the chart. So GME just recently announced the same thing, that they're going to invest in Bitcoin. Look what it looks like. I don't know that it's going to work all that easily. Mm-hmm. These companies that do this, they don't have a business. I mean, they're just doing it because they saw it worked for MicroStrategy, and MicroStrategy MSTR also didn't take off with Bitcoin recently. And it's been basing. So I actually like MSTR higher, but I don't like some of the other names that are throwing their hat in the ring and doing the same thing as MSTR.
Yeah, you make a really good point there, because some of them seem like their core business or whatever they were doing before isn't very good. And the attempt to add Bitcoin to the treasury is almost a way to kind of buoy this. So that makes a lot of sense there. Okay, Sammy, this is phenomenal insights. Really good stuff here today. Ton of stocks, ton of good insights. Folks, join Sammy's free webinar on July 9th. Scan up that QR code. Thanks a million, man. Can't wait to talk to you next time you come on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. That is Sammy Abusad from T3. Folks, those T3 guys are absolutely incredible. Round of applause here for Sammy. Tons of different ideas in there. Also a breakdown on some of the former trades there. So really good stuff there from the group. And I'm interested in some of that. I'm definitely interested in some of those names. I definitely like MicroStrategy. It's nice to hear someone else that's kind of bullish on this. I know I read a lot of Peter Schiff comments on a daily basis here. It doesn't really sound all that bullish, but really good stuff there from Sammy. We really, really appreciate it. Sammy's departure leaves room for 13. Let's bring him on and see how he's doing. 13, how are you doing here today?
I'm doing just fine. It's a nice day out here, at least from what I can tell looking out the window. It might be cloudy, who knows, but it's a nice morning over here.
Okay, and you're doing good. That's good to hear. Let's hit some of those movers. Let's see. We've got 35 minutes here. Let's hit those movers. Let's knock them out. I don't have any stocks yet from folks here. We actually just ran through a ton with Sammy there. That was really awesome. So we covered a lot of the really kind of popular ones. Let's do those movers, and then let's take a look at some of the charts that folks want to take a look at. Billy, I think you were mentioning this one earlier. This is NDRA. This is Endra Life Sciences here. Endra Life Sciences shares are trading higher after the company announced it will be granted a U.S. patent titled radio frequency applicator. Yeah, that's really what it was. This stock closed at about 351 yesterday. We printed 11 here in the pre-market, came back into VWAP, held it and bounced. Quick look around the horn here on this one. 2.29% of the float shorted there with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 257,000 shares. Folks, we've traded shy of 50 million here today, 47.68 million. The float here is small, 738,000 shares in the float. So it's no surprise to see the huge move that we made. My question to you, 13, do you think we have more on this here today?
Well, it's certainly trading back above its VWAP this morning. It wasn't looking that great when it was going beneath it, but it just recaptured that. So if it gets back above 10, we'll probably have some more movement to the upside here. The float here on this one is very small. It's 738,000 shares, so this should be very easy to move around. Once you get through 10, which we're coming up to right now, could see a nice pop over that. We'll see if that ends up happening in the pre-market. Company does have about a quarter or two worth of cash, so there will have to be a raise at some point, or they'll have to find out how to get some capital. But aside from that, yeah, they got a patent, which I don't think for what they've got listed here is too substantial, and they didn't really. I didn't deep dive into what this patent was actually for. They said a radio frequency applicator. Okay.
That was my first thought. Like, all right,
I would like to know more, but at the same time, I'm not sure. So that's what we have here for NDRA. I think it's really right now for in the pre-market here. It's all about getting above that $10 spot. You can see in the pre-market here we have had some prints above that, going as high as 11.12. But every time that we've moved above 10, it's been on a little bit higher volume than we've had earlier. So I think that that move through 10 is going to be significant. If we don't get that move through 10, then I'd be concerned about a loss of VWAP and start trailing lower. So that's what I have here for NDRA. Looks like they will need cash at some point. Don't think that they'll be needing to raise today, though.
Okay, so maybe look, low float. It had a huge range here. Mm-hmm. It's got tons of volume. I mean, it's got a lot of the things that actually make successful day trades for us here. So maybe this is in play. As always, with any of these fast movers here, folks, be careful. Don't exceed your own personal risk parameters here. Make sure you exercise smart trading as opposed to, shooting from the hip, as they say.
One thing about this that I wanted to point out, they got this information yesterday after the closing bell. So it's had the impulse move has happened prior to today. So I think that sometimes that can mean a little less movement in the following day, especially when you get it in the after hours. I've seen lots of these biotech stocks get their PR move right after the closing bell. They don't go on these massive runs usually like some of these other ones do. So might not see fireworks here with this one, but like I was saying earlier, let's see what happens if we can get over 10.
Okay, good stuff. And we're approaching 10. We're 20 cents away from that right now. Ticker NDRA, Endra Life Sciences. Okay, next one here on the list is another one that everyone wants to see. Is looking at you, Mama Bear. This is PROC, ticker PROK. This is Pro Kidney. Pro Kidney shares are trading higher after the company reported statistically and clinically significant top-line results from its phase 2 trial evaluating Riparencel. Okay. In patients with chronic kidney disease and diabetes. This was a penny stock, which is, I guess there were some people surprised that we were even going to talk about this here today. This was a penny stock yesterday. We popped as high as 160 on that impulse move. Traders traded that back down here into penny territory, but it looks like it did an all right job holding 81 cents. We've now crossed above VWAP. It took 2 attempts, maybe 3 if you count this one. 3 attempts to get back above VWAP, but we've done that now. We're actually above $1 here. Quick look around the horn on PROK, 18.49% of the float shorted. And oh my, 34.67 days to cover. That comes on an average of 1.22 million shares. Today we've traded over 61 million. So unsure if this is going to be a multi-day squeeze, but notable short interest on there. 13, what do you think on this one?
This one I think would probably be better than DRA, but here's a couple of things. For one, floats 90 million shares. That's a little bit harder to move than the 738,000 shares the other one was trading at. Still, we're getting some pretty good movement here in the pre-market. It looks to me like 125 is the next resistance level the price has to get over. They do have other trials going on, so this is not their only their potential PR headline about a clinical trial result. They have several other things going on. I unfortunately closed the page, so I can't just look and tell you what they are, but not important. They have things they have going on in the pipeline. They do have a lot of cash. Looks like they have enough cash at their current burn rate to last them a year. So I don't think that they'll be needing to do any capital raise anytime soon. But if anything that they would need to do, it's probably a reverse split, especially if they're trading beneath $1. Now I know that we're above $1 today, but I don't think I've seen any NASDAQ compliance letters coming their way yet. But if they go back under $1, keep an eye out for that. That's not something that you typically want to see, but it's good that they have enough cash to continue operations for, from what I'm seeing here, at least a year. And other than that, I think the phase 2 results, really nice headline to have. You are going to get phase 3. They're going to need capital for that. They already have it. So the only thing that I'd be concerned about is, their share structure.
Okay, good stuff here. PROK, Pro Kidney. We'll see if we get a trade on that. Really good breakdown there, 13. Okay, next here is going to be Wolf. Remember, this is the one that had chat. Let me just make sure because I mix up WOLF and WULF regularly. I'm pretty sure this is the one that had Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah. Wolf Speed files for Chapter 11 restructuring here. Stock is up 45.9% here. Did we get anything in the after hours? No, we got news yesterday, midday. It looks like we got news that it appoints Gregor von Issum as the new CFO. So we actually talked about this in the morning. The PR came in the morning. There was some more news midday about it. We talked about this yesterday. Stock here really responding. It responded yesterday, but looks like some continuation. All right, 13. We think that this has got some relative volume action going for it.
Well, if anything, it's got a high short interest that could have a short.
Oh my
squeeze.
God! Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of the real big issue here with Wolf. I mean, this is going bankrupt, right? So people trying to trade this or get as much out of it as they can. I feel like this is mostly just a short squeeze, if anything. If there's some good news coming its way, I don't know exactly. Aside from the CFO, I don't know exactly what that could be. I don't know that the CFO is going to turn things around and make this a better business. But we already know about this company. We already know that it's got issues. It's got high short interest, and it's got 50. Was it? No, it's almost got 100 million shares in the float to be traded. So just like PROK, share structure is a little heavy. Probably not going to trade as well. But man, when you have most of the float shorted, you should see some squeezing action. So that's about all I would say is going to happen with Wolf. We're going to get more squeezing happening here. Let me see if I can find some levels for you. So we hit 363 earlier today, this morning. Wouldn't be surprising to me if we went higher than that. If we can hold the VWAP, which we just bounced off of. If there are some kind of ridiculous levels we could examine. I don't know that we'll get to any of those today. I mean, 730 is about where one of them is. But if we are going to push up to any level that's going to give us some significant resistance, seems like 480 is about where that would be.
Okay. All right. Jeff here saying red flag. Anytime there's a bankruptcy filing, red flag, cash grab before total implosion. Definitely feel that way. The only reason that I'm mentioning this is because it's almost as if a joke. We have actually seen several of these trade up on that news. But I agree with Jeff here wholeheartedly. Generally speaking, I stay away from bankruptcy stocks. I just feel like I have more of an edge elsewhere.
I'm not trading this. If you want to, don't let me stop you, but just understand that the risks that come with trading this.
Yeah, no question. All right, well done there, 13. Next here is going to be ZEP, ticker ZEPP. Looks like this is having kind of a wild pre-market here. Let's see what's going on with ZEP. ZEP, shares are trading higher on no news. So looks like a little bit of a pump there, came all the way back in, only holding by about 5% here. The short interest here actually very small. I got a reading here of 1.4, so 1,500 shares held short. That's pretty much nothing. Float here, 47 million. On average, this stock trades 29,000 shares, barely even moves. Today we traded 1.5 million. To me, this seems like a trap. It's a trap. I don't want to be in this one, especially overnight. This thing looks like a ghost town unless something's going on here. We have this big candle that where was the high on this candle? Popped up to like 534. We've come in about $2 off that. To me, this one seems risky. What say you, 13?
This wasn't even on my radar. It kind of does look risky. It looks like they just recently had their earnings report back in May. Loses money, has revenue, but loses money. They are expecting higher revenue or sales this quarter that we're in now. Aside from that, this thing looks like we just got our pop and drop. It went up to 529. We lost VWAP in the process. Now we're trying to hold above the 65 VMA. I didn't cover this one, so I don't know enough about it. Looks like they do smart wearables for health. But aside from that, I don't know enough about it. It looks to me like if we are going to come back up in price, it's going to have to get through VWAP, which is at 430, 50 cents away. I don't know anything beyond that. Not one I covered.
Okay, no problem. I don't really think there's anything here anyway, but good stuff on that. Next, I had, let's see. Okay,
so this VIOT,
I was gonna say this was one from yesterday. Looks like we got a little bit of continuation here on VIOT. Let's see, we had nothing here today, news-wise on this, but this moved 59% yesterday. So what do you think, Arval here? Just as a reminder on some of the stats on this, short interest negligible. There's basically nothing held short here. Float 56 million. On average, trades 400,000. Today we traded 1.5 million. You got anything on this one, VIOT?
Yeah, this one I just kind of wanted to. We did look at this yesterday because it was moving yesterday, and might provide some more movement today. Though I wouldn't expect the same kind of movement today as we got yesterday. It does have 56 million shares in the float, so a little bit heavier than we'd like. But the thing that I wanted to point out with this is that they face a NASDAQ compliance deadline due to a late filing. This is for their filing that they did at the end of last year. That they were supposed to do in the last year. They received a notice and back in May, and from what I understand, they have 60 days to address this with NASDAQ, and that gives it till about toward the end of this month. And if they are successful in their appeal, they can extend this out to November. So NASDAQ compliance issue here. Typically, what we have seen with these is that they do run on that PR of recompliance. So might be something to look forward to in the future if you want to have some kind of mover on your watch list that has a potential PR upcoming. VIOT is one of them, but I think this is a otherwise more of a China pump. I believe this is where they're located in out of Guangzhou, China. So could be another one of those that this runs on no news, but they are facing a NASDAQ a NASDAQ compliance issue. So just kind of wanted to flag people with that.
Fun fact, I know how to pronounce Guangzhou because of the movie Under Siege 2, which seems really kind of out of place, but it is what it is. By the way, while we were talking here, we have another mover that's ripping. Let's see if this is ripping on news. Ticker here is IROH. This is Iron Horse Acquisitions. This stock was about 787. Uh-oh, the laugh tells everything I need to know.
I read it as Scooby. IRO. Sorry.
The Scooby voice pretty good there. Totally threw me off though, 13. I'll be honest, you totally sandbagged me there. Nonetheless, the stock was about 750 before it started moving here. $10 rip. Holy smokes, this thing really going crazy. Did we have any news on this? No. No, yesterday we had an amended 13G after hours, but 13. Here's the reason. There was plenty of time this morning where nothing was happening. It's just all of a sudden as if the volume started to kind of surge this thing. And this is, I mean, this is a 10-point move. It's more than double. Stock's up 176% here. So Brian here asking the $64,000 question. No news. Does someone know something is coming? Unless this is a delayed reaction to 13G, maybe that's the case. Maybe this is a room pump out there. Not really sure. Don't see anything on this yet.
It could be, but the 13G does show that there is a almost 30% ownership by Carpus Management. So it could be that it's just noticed late, and somebody who noticed it late is kind of spreading the word and pumping this out there. I just speculating on that. I don't know if that's the case or not, but hey, this thing is moving. So let's look at what the chart's telling us. We are above VWAP now. Looking to take out 19. We're at 1895 is the high right now. Let me see if I can find any levels here with this. Oh, this thing just got hammered recently.
It just continues to go.
Well, I mean, look what just happened recently to this thing. This thing got absolutely slammed over the past several days. So
this was a SPAC that de-SPACed and is now popping. Am I getting that right?
I mean, I don't know.
Yep, I sure am.
It's. I mean, is the merger complete? Because it's still an acquisition company. So did it fall through or what? I mean,
I don't know. Really good question here.
Okay, here. Extends business combination deadline approval. That was from last month, about a couple weeks ago, week or two ago. So I guess this might be in there.
And actually, 13, going through this news feed here, looks like this thing gets halted often for volatility. I think we can expect that again here today. But this, without a doubt, blank check company, this is for sure a SPAC that's just kind of moving. Man, 215%. What a rip here. You guys weren't kidding.
The company plans to close the business combination soon, having extended the deadline to July 29th.
Okay. IROH, I'm going to wait this one out. I'm certainly not going to chase this. Not in the business of chasing 200% moves. Okay, two more that I wanted to mention here real quick. SQNS, Sequans Communication here. This did pop as high as 240 on a PR here. It's bled back a lot of the gains, moving away from its VWAP. This one we might put on the back burner in case volume flows into it later today. Sequans Communication shares are trading higher after the company announced it closed a $384 million strategic investment to launch a Bitcoin Treasury initiative, already added to the Bitcoin Treasury list, by the way. And we just asked Sammy about that. One of the things that he said, he used GameStop as the example, but I know these companies pop initially, but they really don't seem to carry a lot of these gains through. That's something to keep in mind here. Looks like this is coming back in on that. You got anything? Or, well, here, let me give you the short interest here real quick. Nothing. 0.06% of the float shorted here. Float's 12.5 million. What do you think on SQNS?
when I see these so often now, I just have to wonder: is this just a ploy to raise capital with no intention of ever, using it for any kind of crypto? And that, I mean, when I look at the balance sheet, I'm just kind of thinking, well, maybe that's the case here too. The company loses, an inconsistent amount of money each quarter, and if we just go look at the last quarter where they lost more than $7 million, they have the cash to do that again, but they'll have to raise thereafter. Looks like the company does have some revenue too, so I guess there is that. But I don't know enough about this company, and now that I have that in my head, that every time we see these strategic investments to launch a crypto treasury of some kind, I'm just thinking, okay, well, this company might be having a hard time.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we discussed earlier with Sammy. It's almost like the Bitcoin Treasury PR is to cover up a pretty poor business. By the way, IRO turning into Rut-Row real quick here. We'll see how this actually finishes when we actually open there. I'm glad that I got you excited about that. Okay, last one that I wanted to cover here. Then we'll go ahead and take some stocks from the chat to round out our pre-market here. SBET, ticker SBET. This popped yesterday right out of the open and was pretty disappointing after that. We're popping again here in the pre-market. Actually, the last two times that this has moved early in the day, it came back at the end of the day. Don't be fooled. Here we go on SBET 1430. I believe the level yesterday that we were really looking for was 1450 and then 15, which we weren't able to really break out from. Again, just as a reminder here on the short interest, 8.34% of the float shorted, and that's on 1 day to cover. Your float here is 66 million. What do you think here on SBET? You think we get a move here today?
Well, if Tom Lee would, help us along, that'd be great, because I think that's one of the only reasons this is still moving the way it is, because he was talking about it last Thursday, I believe. And like to your point about that 1450, 1460 area, that we ran up to same area that, as yesterday. We did pop a little bit higher after the open yesterday, but we're finding resistance at pretty much the same area. So would need to see that 1450, 1460 area get taken out. We don't do that, I'm probably going to end up with the same fate as yesterday.
Okay, good stuff there on SBET. Someone else I think had mentioned ticker MB. I could have sworn I saw that scroll across the wire here.
Master Beef.
Yeah, no jokes here, folks. This did spike.
Is that a Kung Fu Panda character?
It might be. I don't know anything about Kung Fu Panda. This thing spiked above 26, came all the way back in. Now, it says that we're still up by 4.55%, but let's be careful here. I almost said master pullback. Crazy stuff. Pullback. No news here on this one. Be really, really careful. I know someone mentioned this, but there's not a whole lot going on here.
All right.
Trading higher on no news and gave up a lot of that. Okay, enough of the junk. Let's go back to the main chart tool here. What stocks do y'all folks want to take a look at? You want a little bit of a crazy town? Look at GLXY. Okay, well, I don't have anything else lined up, Kevin, so we'll take a look at this.
We were also getting requests for MBio and ASST.
Okay, we can do both of those. Here's GLXY, Galaxy Digital. You want a little bit of crazy town. What's crazy about this? Let me see if I can piece this together. This is a crypto miner, right? Don't have any news here. What is this?
I think maybe he was more referring to the chart. This thing does look like it could be a little volatile. How much volume is trading? Okay, so this is interesting. Haven't really seen a whole lot of volume trading this until May. I don't know if that's just something wrong with my chart, but I see that this had very low volume, less than sometimes less than 100,000 shares a day, less than half a million shares a day. But then all of a sudden in May, we start getting over 1 million. We're in 10, 15 million a day, just a lot better volume. What is going on with this in May that caused this to start getting so much volume? That's what I'd be curious about.
Okay, we'll see if we can find that. I don't know off the top of my head, and it wasn't mentioned when this was brought up. Let's see, it announces there was an offering in there when it traded higher. I guess that's not terribly surprised. Launches a $29 million public offering to fund AI and data center expansion.
Okay, that could be it.
The chief operating officer sold 1.94 million in stock. Let's see if there was any insider buying on that. No, it was just the selling. I don't see any insider buying on this name.
What is okay? So here's what I'm a little confused about. This doesn't have any data, any news going back beyond May 16th. The only thing that does, it jumps right to July of 2020. I'm sorry, 2006. So was this some kind of new listing or IPO? I mean, help me out with this, because this,
I don't know.
This looks like a new issue of some kind, but because I don't have any news going beyond May.
Galaxy Digital, founded by billionaire Mike Novogratz, he's on CNBC all the time, began trading on the NASDAQ on Friday under the ticker GLXY. So indeed, it looks like this was it just kind of used a ticker that was used before. Stock had traded on the Toronto Stock Exchange since 2020, as well as on OTC markets. Shares opened for trading at $23.50 on the U.S. exchange and rallied before pulling back to $22.90. We find ourselves here at 20.
Okay. So if we just ignore everything that happened before, all this price action that happened prior to May 16th, that's really all it's done. What's the price of this right now?
$20.10.
Okay, so haven't really got above the. Looks like there's a bit of a resistance area just from this small amount of data that we have, just above 21, like 21.15, maybe 21.20, somewhere around there. We, tried to hold on to that yesterday, or Monday, didn't work out, but I think that would be the spot I'd be looking at here if I was going to trade this at all. Is be that 21.20 area.
Okay.
That's about all I got. There's not a whole lot of data here.
No, there really isn't here. I would actually probably stay away from this. Abel here saying it was Canada before. It was in Canada before. It's where most of the Bitcoin came from for BlackRock's ETF. Okay. Appreciate you. Good morning, Crow. Great to see you. RGC still in play. Man, that must be one of your favorite stocks. You've made a entire salary off of that, I feel like. Here, by the way, here's a number of folks who are mentioning PROK. This did trade up to that 160 spot. So I think we had talked about it when it was right in here, 120, 130. Looks like we went a little bit higher here. PROK did form an intraday double top there. Okay, what was the other one? ASST?
Yeah, ASST.
That's asset estates here, or excuse me, asset entities. This thing ripped on volume midday. I was in the middle of doing something else. I didn't see any of this here.
We are trading higher, though.
Yeah. Asset entities shares are trading higher after the company announced it entered into an amended merger agreement with Strive Enterprises. That is what caused the huge move here. Looks like we're getting a little bit of continuation on this here today. Now, it did come back yesterday, and now it looks like it's continuing back up. For me, this puts some of these areas from yesterday in play here, 13. So I've got 885 as a level, and then really this high here. What is it, 1043? What is this? 1045. So it's 885, 1045, the two levels, upside levels that I see here, ticker ASST.
I don't know what that merger agreement is about, or if there's like an actual fixed number as to, what this company is going to be worth when that merger happens. But it looks like this was just an amended agreement to extend the merger to February of next year. I don't know if there's anything that's changed from that, but there is some pretty good short interest in this. 23% of the float shorted. You only have a day to cover. Because I guess the float's just that low and it trades that much. But I would say, what was the number you were saying? The level you were looking at?
885 and 1045.
Yeah, I think I do. I think I like. Well, it's certainly the 8 area I like, but I think it'd be about maybe 835 somewhere. It's going to be in about the same area that you were talking about, but maybe I'm just looking at it differently and thinking, well, it could be this level, it could be this level. We did have some moves up over $8 this morning, but it doesn't appear like it looks like we only got a few closes, and it just comes right back down underneath 8 after that in the next candle. So Let's see if we can get several closes above $8 this morning, and that might prepare us for another upside move.
Okay. All right. Good stuff here. Kevin, do we have anything else? Did I didn't miss anything? Did I?
No. So. Looks like Gringo Loco is talking about Clove. This one we've seen a lot before.
So Clove at a support level right down here, right? So if you look at the daily chart here, this was actually a support level from early September, right around the kickoff of football season. Oh, I can't wait. Anyway, it's at a support level down here. It's really kind of, once it lost the 200-day, this thing really had nothing. It had no strength at all. The question here was, is it breaking out? I don't know if it's breaking out. Definitely rebounding though. Yesterday closed above the 20-day moving average. Today we're gapping higher by 5.5%. We're just shy of that 50-day. That value's at 315. So if we close above 315, maybe that gives us a little bit more, or maybe that gives us a little bit more juice, possibly to make it up to the 357 where the 200-day is. What say you, 13?
And that 315 area, maybe somewhere higher or lower in there, but just in that area right there, you can see that we did get support previously. Like maybe it's down at $3 even. But if we do head lower from this, which I'm not sure we're going to do today, but it does, looking to the left, there has been some significant support at $2. That was also a resistance area on the way back up here last year. But back in 22 on the way down, $2 was really trying to keep this from going lower, but finally succumbed in October that year. So I like that 1350 area, getting above the 50-day SMA and that 1350 level, which appears to be a bit of a resistance area. I think that would be great for the stock, but you run into a whole bunch of consolidation after that, especially when you cross a 330.
Okay, really good stuff there on Clove. Folks, we're running out of time here, but I just did want to get these out. 13, one of the articles that I had read earlier was about Tesla, and with everything going on with Tesla, maybe it makes sense for Broadcom to replace Tesla as part of the Magnificent Seven. I'm going to read you the poll results, but I definitely want to hear how you weigh in on that. Would you rather have, what would you rather have? What stock would you rather have in the Mag 7? Tesla or Broadcom? 53% of you said Tesla, 46% of you said Broadcom. We had pretty good participation on that poll as well. 13, I would rather have Tesla in the Mag 7 personally. What say you?
Well, Tesla trades better. I feel like because that's a battleground stock, you're going to get better trading price action. Broadcom's more of that investment grade type of stock. Yeah. So and it comes to who's going to get the label. To me, I really don't care.
Okay.
Maybe Tesla deserves it because it's so well known and traded. On the other hand, I think Broadcom's the much more stable and I don't want to say real company. They're both real companies, but they're not. Broadcom's not bound by so many headlines like Tesla is. I guess I really don't know which one would need to be more I think would be in the Max 7, but I guess I would lean more towards Tesla just because it's more of a battleground stock and it trades better and it's just more well known.
Yep, bingo. I'm with you on that. I also think that there are some pretty good future prospects here regarding the Optimus robot that also kind of leads in there. But you make a better point there. It's volatile. Big B's here saying Tesla's full of tomfoolery right now. He gets bonus points for using the term tomfoolery prior to 10 a.m. That's like a rule. If you use a really cool vocab word prior to 10 a.m., you get bonus points. There you go. Pete, Tesla for trading, Broadcom for long term. Yep. 13, it sounds like that's what you were saying here. I would completely agree with that. Yep. I think that makes a lot of sense. Okay, good stuff there, folks. We do have some more time here. What else do you want to take a look at? Shop, I think, Kevin, you had suggested another stock. I can't remember the ticker, but you also suggested Shop, which I remember. So here's Shopify. I actually do have a potential move above. If this can get above 120, I actually think you can attack this other high that's in here, 130-ish? And then if we do that, then we can start looking at some of these other ones. Sorry, 13.
Not Shopify, but just mentioning real quick, SBET is trying to get back up over that 1450. It's still beneath it right now, but it did make another print, so it's certainly trying. Sorry, as far as Shopify goes, let's see, we've got 2 minutes. Okay. As far as Shopify goes, looks like the big question mark for me is going to be at 120. What happens there? See that we did back in December, we did get up there, got rejected. We popped above that in February, came back in later that month. Haven't been up there since, but just looking at the way the price has interacted with that level in the past, seems to me like 120 is the level to get over here and hold over.
Okay,
that's what you're looking for a shop.
I'm with you on that. Okay, 1 minute warning. Several people wanted to take a look at SoundHound, ticker SOUN. SoundHound, we're going to start here with the daily chart. This is actually up 5.8% here in the pre-market. The chart looks pretty appealing. Yes, we broke this trend line, but we traded sideways to get through the trend line. Now that we've done that, we've started to really kind of rise off of these moving averages. That puts my next spot here at 1264. We do have a gap that fills up here at 1434. So maybe if we can get some movement here, 1434 is possible on SoundHound. I know this was pretty quick. You have anything here on SoundHound? I know we've covered this a lot in the past.
Well, we just opened, but my levels to the upside for SoundHound are 1245 and 1410.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, showtime, folks. I love it, EKS. I love it. Let's see what we got here today. NDRA right at those pre-market highs. This looking like it's going to pop 11 here.
It looks like Iron Horse did come all the way back in. Looks like it gave up most of its impulse move here. Trying to rise.
We indeed had a rut row.
Yeah, we did. We certainly did. PROK. So we did get up to 163, came back in. Now we're rising again. Let's see if we continue to get this upward movement here.
So this almost came to its VWAP here. Part of me wonders if we got a little bit of a bounce here.
Yeah, I'm going to see if, let's see, where does this go? So you know what? We do have a couple of levels we could try and draw a trend line to get an idea of where this might run to. It's not going to be very high. Maybe it's more of a breakout level, but it looks to me like there's a visit of 165 that coming again if we continue with this volume. That would be the resistance area. We already got near it once, but if I'm using a trend line from 710 this morning through that 163 high that we put in, that trend line's just a couple cents above where we hit that high in the pre-market. So if we get up there, maybe that's a breakout spot.
Okay, I'd watch this 139 level. This is where the has really kind of stopped after the open. We're right up, and I pulled it off that spot. I watched that 139, 140 level here. No entry yet for me. I was looking to maybe jump in that, but not yet. Yeah. Let's take a look. BBAI getting mentioned by several folks here. What do you got?
So for PRK, there is going to be some significant resistance starting at about 145, 150. That goes back into 2024. So might have a hard time getting through that.
Okay, here we go. 139 up. They're taking the huge size there. There's still some, and and now they're walking it down. So wow, big seller there. Walked that down 6 cents off that 139 level. Coming right back up. Here we go. Watch if it pops here on 139 here on PROK. This is some pretty incredible volume here. We'll see if this 130 breaks. They had it right back onto that 139. And there is a lot of action back and forth here.
And this is the one that had the phase 2 results.
Yep.
Looks like NDRA made a new high in the session, 1149, coming back off of that now. Wolf getting some support from VWAP, but doesn't look that great at the moment.
Yeah,
SoundHound is ripping though.
Okay, I'll go to that here in a sec. Still watching this. Let's see if we lose 130 here. I think if we lose 130, we can probably wait for this to set up again. But I'm still looking at that 139, 140, and a pop above that would be a good exit. Okay, big seller that they just dropped there at 131. Now we broke to 130. Okay, let's wait for this one to set up here again. PROK. What was it? Soundhound that was ripping?
Yep. Yes, it is. Nice move here. First, we inched lower out of the gate, and then we just took off. Took out that 1245 level I had. If we do come back in, I'll be looking to see if we get some support there. But after this, the next upside level I have is 1410.
Okay. By the way, I just saw some calls here on Wolf 2000 calls there. Izzy, good morning. Great to see you. Amazon pulling out of the open here. This is actually down to yesterday's intraday lows. Prime Day starts today. It's 4 days this year. Is Amazon a buy on that? Izzy, is this a decent scalp territory against yesterday's lows here? Amazon, let's call it 222.50.
So Amazon Prime Day, you said it's 4 days this time?
Correct.
What is it usually?
I believe it was only 2 days prior, or 3.
That sounds concerning to me that they're making it as long as they are.
Agreed.
I think that seemed that to me that sounds like well, we need to have the sale go on because sales are not great right now.
Yeah, see, it's 8, 9, 10, 11. And I think it was only 3 days before. Someone check me on that, because that would be important. If I'm screwing that up, that's going to be important here. By the way, SPY holding here at 620. We actually did roll over. S&P futures down 0.02, so basically unchanged.
Here we're coming down to the 620 and 49 cent previous all-time high. SQNS is moving above its VWAP right now. This I have levels for, interestingly. So if this continues to go up and take out that 240 high that we made earlier this morning, I have 255 as the next resistance area. I can see that on the price letter here that 220 has a big seller that we need to get through. Looks like PROK is also trying to turn around here. Maybe we get some movement with that one.
Yeah, that came back to its VWAP, by the way. Yeah. So this is actually a decent buy spot, or right at the VWAP. I would be careful. I do a tight stop on this one.
Wolf is also trying to turn around here. It has recaptured its VWAP, so maybe those calls are starting to get noticed. It has to do with all this sideways consolidation that it just put in after hitting that impulse high at 363 earlier this morning.
Really quickly here, repeat sweeps there on coin. Also noticed some sweeps there on BT, IBIT. So it looks like some Bitcoin action here. Hood, some more calls. What's Hood doing? Oracle had some call buying on it. Boy, a lot of tech names here with call buying. Hood looks like it touched 98 there and pulled back. Interesting. In Amazon for a scalp. There you go, Izzy. Okay, let's see. 222.50 was the downside area there. What are you looking for on your scalp? Personally, I'd want this to really kind of come back to like 223.50, 224. Really depends on where your entry was there on Amazon. That was a good buy there. Izzy also mentioning SoFi, and I think somebody mentioned Cooler News. I see Cooler on the scanner here, so we'll do those 1 and 2 here. SoFi is popping again. Did move above 2060 right now on SoFi.
Iron Horse is halted. I don't see any reason for, unless it's halted for news. Because it was selling, but it wasn't like having a high volume sell off or anything like that. So I'm not sure what this halt is for.
Here we go on SoFi. SoFi expands access to private markets with funds from Cashmere, Fundrise, and Street Advisors. So that's your news here for SoFi. This still holding higher here by 7.5%. This is a good move here in SoFi.
We are getting some more upward movement in PROK. SQNS just took out everything it had that moved that out of the gate. So now we have an engulfing candle here.
So here is your PROK. I'll tell you what, from this 5-minute chart, sure looks like it bounced off that VWAP. Still looking at that 139, 140 area here on PROC. If it can pop that, I think you're okay selling into that move above.
I don't think we're getting it right now.
Well, I'm looking at the level 2 here. There's a lot of buying interest here. 137 had a pretty big spot there. And they do this where they walk it down. They just walked it down 6 cents in a heartbeat there and a whole bunch of selling. Buyers have since soaked it up. Really need to pop above this 139, 140. Don't overstay your welcome on this. If the stock doesn't do it, I mean, I don't really have a great thesis on this other than kind of looking at the chart and the price action here. So I'd have a very tight stop on this one. Don't give anything away here today.
Sometimes that's all we got. It's just what the charts are telling us. Look at Webull right now. That is popping over 13. Trying to get into some of these pre-market levels from yesterday. Looks like 1325 might be a bit of a resistance area, and that's also what my price ladder is saying. There's a seller at 1326, but 1325, that area. If you look at the pre-market yesterday, that particular level was support in the after hours, and then we lost that level in the pre-market. Tried to recapture it, could not do it. Went lower the rest of the day. So that pre-market price action has me thinking 1325 going to be a big level to get over here.
Okay, it sure looks like Webull kind of coming up off the bottom there. PROK here does feel heavy. Just kind of watching the price action. Looks like we might be coming back into VWAP. PROK.
Oh yeah, they just dropped a whole bunch of sellers right on this thing.
They've been doing that. They've been doing that on that move up here. Here we go at VWAP. I think if you're in this already and it loses this, I think that's probably it. If you're looking to trade this is not a bad spot. Risk to reward, I just keep that stop tight on that one. Okay, you guys are mentioning, well, first of all, real quickly here, IROH halted to the downside here, massive pullback. PTHS, this was one from yesterday, right? Yeah, sure was. This now halted to the downside after the shenanigans midday yesterday. NDRA also halted.
Yep, that's also halted. That one looks like that's halted on the price action to the downside, the volume, a volumetric halt. I don't know why Iron Horse is halted. I feel like that might be like a news halt, but because it didn't have the volume or the movement to really warrant a halt right now. So I'm wondering if there's something else here. PROK, that was a great call. That's going lower.
Yep.
Might find some support around 110, 113. Don't know if that's going to hold.
So I know this didn't really make any money, but this is all about the VWAP here. And this is one we get asked a lot about VWAP and why it's important. You're seeing it play out here in PROK. I've got the VWAP in my broker at 122 here. There is constant action around that VWAP. I've got it at 119 here. It's trying to hold it again, but if it can't, I will probably stop looking at this one if it can't. Big bid there at 120.
Wolf is beneath its VWAP, and it's looking like that's about to lose its 65 EMA. If that happens, it looks like the 280s are going to provide, maybe somewhere in the 270s, 280s are going to provide some support, as that was a lot of sideways consolidation in that range of, it's like 260 to 280. But consolidation in there, that's where I'd be looking for the next area of support for that one.
BMNR got to mention here. This is curling now 121. BMNR now above the pre-market highs. This one's a little too rich for my blood, but man, this is it's looking all right here.
Soundhound continues to move.
Here, let me put
13.
It's looking for you, huh? Let me put Soundhound up here real quick. I'm going to step away for 1 sec, 13. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. Zach saying U.S. bonds are extended sell-off. I saw that there was some problems with the auction. I think it was yesterday. Don't know if that has any impact on that. Great job on Proc there, Tuna. Called it. Billy F. saying OCC, Optical Cable Corp. That's looking at a 34% move here this morning. Let me bring this up on my broker chart. So what do we got here with this one? They have some kind of news. It doesn't. Nope, there is. OCC and Lytera form strategic partnership to boost data center enterprise offerings. So that's what that is happening with that one. And it looks like we just have pull there. Seems like 530 is one of the levels to get over here. Seems to be the way since we lost that level in the pre-market here, not able to recapture it despite printing it slightly above it. So let's see if we can capture 530 if it can hold above VWAP. That's going to be the thing right now at this stage is can it hold above VWAP? And if it does, let's see what happens at 530. That'll be OCC. Ryan, we were just talking about OCC. This is on the move. It's got a 40% move this morning. We're looking for this to break 530.
Okay. All right. Good curl there. 530. This is right from that pre-market high level, right? Looks like it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. SBET 15 plus says Jay Wild. So there we go. Yeah. Oh, that just had a nice move.
Oh yeah.
It took out that level we were talking about. The
1460.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So we finally got above that. God. And let's see here. What else can we? Oh, okay. You know what? I see a trend line.
Tom Lee, man. I think I see the same trend line you're referring to, 13. Let me see if I can put it.
Yeah, you are.
I love how you can just tell now. That's the best part.
Yeah, because you're looking at the same time frame and it's like, yeah, he sees it.
I almost want to draw it that way, but
yeah, 1550 is the next spot that has a large number of sellers. We got to get through. We get through that. I mean, this trend line is saying that we might see 20. We'll see. We just got through 1550. We're pushing higher. I guess if you're in this, hang on. But make sure you got your stops at where they need to be.
Good stuff there. Samel says, I'm going to stay in SBET. So far, so good. I wouldn't let that go against you, though. Mike mentioning BTBT. Yeah, this is off again. And I had mentioned earlier that there were sweeps on this. There were sweeps on this coin, IBIT. There were several Bitcoin names in there that had some pretty aggressive option activity.
They are still pushing SBET higher.
Zim's higher here. That's got some option activity. Oscar Lyon was saying how much he liked that earlier. It's a former Tim Melvin pick. This also having some unusual options. Looks like Oscar's trying to curl as well here.
They just tried to walk SBET down and that seller got deleted.
I think this might be going higher then.
Yep. Yep, it's still printing higher. Looking for 16 now. Well, this got a little bit of a pull there, but still looking for 16. 1585, 1590.
Your penny.
Sorry.
No, my fault. I tried to jump in there. Penny stock MBRX. Crow calling this. Looks like this is moving on patent news. Is he saying Joby boom? Did that boom on news? And then if so, what's Archer's deal? Wow, Joby straight up out of the gate here. Did we have news on this? Nope.
Oh, that's the warrants. That's not.
Nope. No news there on that Joby move. Archer 2.8% on its move here. There we go. Archer and Joby. These charts look the same. I don't see any move accompanying this. Lion, LEU got an upgrade here today. Was it an initiation, not an upgrade? Northland Capital initiates coverage on Centrus here. Price target 205.
SBET polling after hitting 1593. Let's see if it can get some support around 1515.
Okay, AEHR getting mentioned here by Day Trader. This has earnings tonight. Earnings after the market closes and then a conference call. This popping into earnings here. What's the thought here? Anyone trading AEHR for earnings? What do you think?
That's the one we were looking at a long time ago for testing EVs, right? And other semiconductor systems. And that one had a huge drop because of the supply chain disruption.
Correct.
Archer is still pumping higher. Imagine Joby is as well. Also, Soundhound hit 1304 before coming back underneath 13.
Robert's asking if SBET is causing Ethereum to rise. I don't think so. No, I don't think the performance of the SBET stock is going to affect the ETH chain. I would be skeptical of that. Let's put it that way. I've been wrong plenty of times. Cooler, by the way, this did pop out of the gate. We talked a little bit about this here. This had a piece of news, did it not? And Cooler?
Let's see here what we got with Cooler.
Oh my God. Cooler Technologies announces a 20 million credit facility with Coinbase.
Okay.
13's reaction says it all.
That short interest can't be correct because that this just had a reverse split not too long ago. it's saying that it's got 123% of the float shorted. I don't think it's being naked shorted.
No, I'm sure that's just a calculation snafu.
Yeah.
Multi-draw loan facility initially totaling up to 20 million, which will be available to Cooler upon the execution of the credit facility. The company intends to use the net proceeds to fund its strategic Bitcoin accumulation goals. Well, you know what that means. BTC Treasury watch list, here I come.
Right, Joseph. They did that, so that's why I was saying like it had the skewed short interest.
Thinking about it says I am in AEHR, but I'm not playing it for earnings. I'll buy any dip if it happens. Okay, so if it dips after the earnings, you're a buyer there tomorrow. Okay.
Looks like OCC is trying to get back above $5. It's holding VWAP for now, but if you can get back above $5, this might trade better. Soundhound hit 1304, still trying to go higher. SBET looking for 16. Looks like Iron Horse is open now, trying to turn around. And NDRA, that's unhalted as well and going lower.
Indeed it is. More Tesla puts getting bought. Tesla's had kind of a wild morning here today. Is anyone trading Tesla? Pop, drop, and now we're popping again. We actually just recaptured VWAP. 300 looks to be next year, TSLA. By the way, look at PROK really quick. This is why we watch some of those levels there. This is why your first stop is your best stop. This thing totally bearish now, pretty much giving everything. That 160 was just a massive double top.
65 EMA is going to be just above 95 cents.
I'll be honest with you. You guys that keep mentioning BMNR, every time I look at the chat, I keep seeing you guys mentioning Beamer, and it gets me extremely excited. And I have to remind myself that it is indeed not anything to do with the Beamer. It's just this crazy stock.
Well,
what are we at on that one?
We're at 128 and change.
Oh my!
It did go up to 161 on Thursday. And seems like 129 is about the resistance area for this today. Looks like Iron Horse is halted again, but to the downside. SQNS trying to recapture 190 and the VWAP.
Joe, I'm in Tesla. Calls from 287.5 from yesterday.
Seems like a lot of stuff is just kind of pulling at the moment. Maybe just getting ready for the next move. Everything that we just talked about is pulling.
And Intel, we talked a little bit about this here this morning. Intel, this is straight up out of the gate. Indeed, Danielle, this did almost hit I said 23 to 24. So this would have been the low end of that range. We're almost there already.
Wow.
Almost there already. So might get a full $1 out of this one.
I like, when I'm looking at the daily chart, I like that we took out the 200-day SMA, held above it, and we came back down to test it. Still didn't lose it. We closed above it, and now we're moving back up. So let's see if we end up going to 24 after that. That's the next area of resistance that I see. I'd like to see 24 and Intel next.
Okay, good stuff there on Intel.
Looks like Soundhound is still trying to push higher into the 13 handle. Got a 1307 print now, but is still not really able to move much higher. It's just kind of been, creeping its way up ever since it moved over 13. Sure you got your stops up if you're just trading this today.
Amazon, which we mentioned earlier, the start of Prime Day here. Amazon, we talked about this 222.50. So we really weren't able to bounce. Now we're still trying to hold here at 222.50. This to me is the spot to trade this against. First bounce didn't work here. Ticker AMZN.
Crow mentioning RLYB.
Yeah, that's been at the top of my scanner all day. It's a penny stock. We had that initial huge pop that took us above 80 cents, came round tripped it, basically came all the way back in. And now here we are, bounced off what, 40 cents? Yeah, bounced off 40 cents. Now we've just reclaimed the VWAP.
It's not a bad piece of news. It means money for them. You receive $7.5 million up front with another 17.5 more for other milestones. That's pretty good for a company that what do they burn? They burn 9 to 10 a quarter.
Brian says solid call on Intel, Rye. Look, we've actually been watching that one. Shout out to the Happy Hour group who really kind of forced me to start focusing on Intel years ago. I've really kind of paid attention to the news flow and what the chart has been telling us. I'll tell you what, as 13 was saying here, with it really kind of holding those levels, it just seemed like the next move here was higher. That's what we got here today. Bucking the trend. We'll see if we get a little bit more there on Intel.
Looks like we're still getting some more moving up with Wolf coming back up to that consolidation area in the pre-market. Some of these are starting to turn around as well. Looks like SoundHound did push up to 13.15 now. So that's still grinding higher. SBET, big knife occurring right now, coming down to VWAP. And BMNR is running into some resistance at 128.95. Two wicks now hitting that area.
Okay. By the way, Circle, you guys are mentioning Circle here. This was a nice move off of 200. I know we peaked beneath it, but this basically held 200 here. Sammy, I believe, also said it looked like Circle was in a pretty decent spot on the daily chart here to continue its curl. So Circle here, this is working so far. We're still down 1.6%, but maybe we have a chance to go red-green here, CRCL. SRFM, someone was shouting this one here. SRFM, oh man, what a ramp through. We had so much stuff, we couldn't even really cover it.
Yep.
Was this on your list and I skipped over it? I didn't.
No.
Okay, just making sure.
It wasn't moving this morning like it is now.
Yeah, basically, as soon as the volume flowed into this after the open, this started ramping. 20% here, SRFM. Eric says FRFM still moving higher. What do we got here on this? Okay, so here, the recent high here, 557, that's definitely going to be in play here. To see if we can pop higher on this.
PROK might be loading. I mean, it did come down to some consolidation in the pre-market here, so let's see if it can recapture VWAP if that's the case.
I'll tell you what, if we get a trade on PROK after this morning pullback here, I'm going to have to mention, I'm going to have to compliment everyone's patience and really kind of keeping some of these in play here. I already wrote PROK off. So if this ends up being a good trade, good on you.
I mean, it might be if it recaptures VWAP. And Day Trader was, he was in a SRFM. He mentioned it with AEHR. I guess we just didn't notice that.
Joe's asking if the price forecasters, the analysts like Mizuho, purposely move the market to be more favorable to their own positions. I would say yes. Probably. Also, probably at quarter end, right? To window dress some of those positions, Joe?
Yeah.
Day Trader long SBFM from a 369. Nice. SRPT on a mean reversion play. Didn't they have terrible data where one of the patients died during the trial? But hang on, knowledge drop. Let me check. First of all, this is up 5%. This is actually a pretty nice move here. If we take a look at the 15-minute chart, you can really kind of get an appreciation of this. Let me back out a little bit here. Here you go. Here's the big. Come on. I'm trying to get the zoom right. Here's the big drop. So I understand why you'd be looking at this. If this might start making a move higher, maybe there'd be a pretty good gain in here. Let me make sure, though, on this one.
Yeah, maybe there was like some overselling in that or something. And it just was like, hey, this is low enough to, pick things up for cheap. Not that I'm saying that this is a good buy or anything, but it was probably being viewed as cheap comparatively to where it was trading at.
Yeah, here we go. Reuters reporting the FDA is investigating deaths due to the acute liver failure in non-ambulatory Duchenne muscular dystrophy patients following the drug here, Elivides. Says 2 reported deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, dude. Well, okay. So
It's trading like it's going bankrupt.
Yeah, look, I'm not a doctor, a scientist, or anyone that's really got a key line on biotechs, but I will say, generally speaking, very much like the accounting issues caused me to run for the door, deaths in drug trials, less than ideal. I think it's pretty safe to say. Now, I get it. You're looking at the stock price thinking maybe they get some good news here and this can come back. I don't know how good I feel about that. I think they still have profitable meds. Is it going to be enough to shake the stigma of one of their new drugs killing people? Look, I don't know the answer. I'm asking you questions I don't know the answer to. I'm just trying to get you to think about this a little bit. I don't know. I get why you'd want to be playing this. I don't know.
Maybe it's good for a day trade, but I don't know if I'd be holding.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. If you find a technical setup on this, maybe just do it short term, 13.
Looks like BMNR continues to push slightly higher. 2960, is the current high. SBET getting some support from VWAP. Let's see if that can turn around. Soundhound high is now 1323, looking at like it's still making its way towards that 1410 area. SQNS, this is trying to hang on to the 65 EMA. ASST that you were looking at earlier, not doing a whole lot today.
Day trader with a South Park impression. I think killing people during testing is bad. Okay. I'm sorry. I shouldn't even be laughing about that. I shouldn't even be. I feel bad now.
It is bad, okay.
But it is bad. Yeah. Okay. So
RA VWAP dip again.
ZEP actually came back a little bit. Let's take a look here at NDRA. I think I had that right in here.
Yep.
This coming back to VWAP here. 892 is that VWAP.
BMNR pushing into 130s now.
Sweet one. This is actually a really measured take here. Deaths could be totally unrelated, but investigation results seem necessary before drawing a conclusion, and uncertainty isn't always good. Okay, so this is the sweet one. I appreciate this because this is a pretty balanced take there. And here's the thing. I guess the risk on this potential trade is you're thinking, well, maybe those deaths were unrelated. And if so, you probably have a pretty good bounce back move coming, especially on the back of them having other profitable drugs. But this means if you're going to trade this on this catalyst, you got to be on top of this. Hopefully that news doesn't come out while you can't trade it, because then you're looking at a humongous gap probably. This is a really good mention though, sweet one. Good stuff.
I hear it, Will. It's still moving higher. 1332 now.
Is it really just no chill?
It just continues to grind.
BMNR no chill
with pullbacks in between. Then that was Soundhound we were looking at, but yeah, BMNR as well. Oh wow, this side just had a nice move higher. Let me see here. Yeah, still looking for. I mean, we just had 161 highs back on Thursday, so maybe we see it again today. All right, so Smoke Tuna, you're saying that PROK looking like this is going to start moving here. Coming back up to its VWAP, knocking on the door. Let's see if it can recapture it.
Let's see if it can hold above it, because part of me wonders if it peaks above, sucks people in, and then crushes them.
Yeah.
But I think I'll hold. I mean, that's going to be. I still maintain that if you're going to take that, then you should probably think about stopping around that VWAP just to kind of keep yourself protected. Abed is asking, can you explain the movement on ticker LSB, Lakeshore Biopharma, if you have time? Yeah, we can take a look at that. I didn't cover this one, so give me a sec to kind of go through it here. Lakeshore Biopharma shares are trading higher after the company announced a $15 million private placement financing.
That's nice. So basically, they get the benefit of raising their capital position without having to dilute their shares. So that's just basically, there's debt on the the back end of this company, I guess we'll say, but it's not something they have to do a public offering for to raise money.
And they've got, 50 million on the balance sheet. Let's see, what do they cash flow at here? God, they lose 200 million a year though. All right, so even with this private placement, it looks like, you initially got the move higher because, like 13 said, you have a way of adding more cash without really diluting. But it looks like that's still kind of like a long road. It almost feels like you're ice skating uphill a little bit. And I'm not sure how effective that's going to be. So this round tripped a whole lot of its move. What's up?
You're getting data on that? Because I don't have a whole lot of information. I don't have any on their income statement.
Yeah, you flipped annual.
Okay. So yeah, they're losing like six. Wow, looks like their losses have gotten smaller over the past several years, while their revenue has grown. I guess that's a positive. And PROK, that is approaching 130 again.
I'll be damned.
Well done, smoked tuna.
I'll be damned. And you know what, tuna? Way to stick with it. Yeah, way to be patient about that. I wrote it off too early. And you were patient about it, and now you're being rewarded. Absolutely fantastic. Samel, how's Sabalenka doing? I saw she dropped the first set. Sweet one following up here. It seems more likely that the deaths are related, hence the investigation in the first place. But yeah, no, well said. But I like having both sides of an issue because that's what makes a trade. Here's your ASST.
Yep, we're starting to get some. We just had a nice candle just a moment ago, coming back up to some of these resistance areas we were experiencing in the pre-market about 785. Trying to push through that right now. Pre-market high is 842. Looking to see if we can get above 8. And then we have all this price action from yesterday's regular session. We could look at for other levels beyond that 842 high. Looks like 950 was also, or 940, 950, somewhere in there. That looks like another area of resistance.
IROH, this is slowing down on that down move. I guess maybe keep this on the back burner in case it does something like PROC. Cores, by the way, this basically flat. I know it shows as up 1% here, but for, basically it's flat. NDRA back down.
BMNR. BMNR that popped up above 134 to 134.48, and now we're getting a little bit of a pull here. We'd like to see 130 hold, but it might go a little bit lower. If not 130, then VWAP. Cooler just it went all the way up to 794 and has done nothing but come back in. Now we're right back to where it opened at. It looks like we're getting some more selling in the Qs, so the SQQQ is moving some more.
SPY as well, 13. We just broke 690.
We had a really good setup for TQQQ yesterday on that big drop in the middle of the day. Waiting to see if we get something like that again, but for now we're only 50 cents away from VWAP, so not set up yet.
Okay, yeah, Fritz, did that match start? I'm rooting for Fritz. Rooting for the Americans. Fritz, Shelton, and Anisimova. What's up? Sorry.
Oh, the Sergeant's actually got 500. I mean, as long as I'm reading this correctly, got 500 today on LAES. Well done.
LAES, didn't someone mention that? Was it Jay Wild that mentioned this earlier? There was a flurry of stuff going on, and I feel like I skipped right over it here. And I think LASE, let me check that.
It had
so
news.
Here's your move on LAES. This was a huge move through 4.
It had news today, too.
Is that LAES?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think LASE also had news. Let me check. So here's your LA. This is going to be so confusing. I hope I'm not wrong here. LAES seals Q Commerce global deployment of its GSMA accredited EUIC with telcos, integrating a pioneering post-quantum ready cryptographic security technology. 13 with all the talk about quantum being able to crack Bitcoin and cryptography and all of that. I think you're going to see more stuff like this. I think you're going to see more of these companies try to come up with some quantum-based or quantum-proof cryptography method or something like that.
They're gonna call it post-quantum cryptography.
Post-quantum cryptography. There you go.
ASST still grinding. Got through 8. Who was on that this morning? Somebody was mentioning ASST and trying to think of who it was, but one of our young ladies here.
An LASE, as if that wasn't confusing enough. This trading higher by 15% on better than expected earnings.
Well, PROK. How high did it go? It got to 132 for it pulled. Now let's see if it can VWAP can support it.
So Zep, this is also getting mentioned here. Billy's on this one. This looked poor in the pre-market. It actually is moving up, but it's doing so on pretty low volume.
I think
it's over its average, but it's pretty low. Sorry, 13.
I think I'd be careful with Zep. I would want to see better volume than this. I just would be concerned that the low amount of volume is not going to be enough to get through some of these other resistance areas. Like I see a seller at 480. Could take them out, but it moves so slow and the volume just isn't great. I don't know that it's going to, some other seller's going to come in and pull it back down. I guess I would just be careful with Zep.
I'm careful with anything that's on low volume. That's actually why you see volume filters on some of my scanners and tools, is because generally I just stay away from this. Sergeant Sexy here, I got to address this. I get the feeling y'all don't like LAES. You can be honest and say it's a gimmick. Not the correct read, honestly. Yeah, I do think so. I don't know if this is going to be a huge winner, Sergeant Sexy, but what I do know, I agree with 13. I think that this, what did you call it? Post-quantum cryptography. I think this is going to be a theme. I think that this is important. So I don't know if this is going to be a winning combination here, but I think there's something to this, and I think there's going to be more of a runway for this as well. I think this is going to be very important as we get closer and closer to quantum. Now, I think the difference here between 13 and 13 might be a little bit closer on quantum than I am, but nonetheless, I have the same level of importance for post-quantum cryptography.
I would like to see it, be profitable. It loses money every year, and that's not well, I don't think it's bad, but
yeah,
I would like to see it be profitable. And it had a lot of other things going on. I thought this was involved with satellites somehow. Satellite communications, European space. Anyway, I think this company has a lot going on, but I would really like to see it become profitable. It loses tens of millions every year. That's really the only hang-up I have.
Cut. Lion, by the way, loves the name Sergeant Sexy. I'm rather amused by the name as well. I'm easily amused by names, by the way, if you guys couldn't tell. It's just one of the things. It makes me smile. Brian here, I like this comment. This is basically where I fit in on that quantum cryptography thing. It's just not widely applicable yet, but it will be important when the time comes. I completely agree with that.
So ASST, we've got a new high, broke all the pre-market highs. We're looking at the price action from yesterday's session for levels now. So I think that 915 area. And then also we had PROC print more highs. It's continuing to go higher right now. Looking for 150 now. Still think that we run up to this trend line that I drew. That's going to take it to about 165, 166.
So this is basic. Yeah, I see what you did here with the trend line. It's very, very shallow, steep, but you're right there. By the way, can we get the like? First of all, thank you, Sergeant Sexy, for tipping the dealer. That's not necessary, but always appreciated. Always appreciated. Can we get the likes smashed up for Sergeant Sexy's name, his benevolence, but also for Smoke Tuna the patience there on Proc, the patience there on Proc. If this takes the high, Tuna, this is going to be the trade of the day. Just because of the initial move that we got here, this probably ended up flipping some of the short-term traders out of here. We ended up piercing this low. I was kind of like, we'll see here. You were loading the boat there, staying patient on it. Now we got a huge move here. This actually looks pretty good. You take that high there, giddy up. Let's smash up the like for Tuna and his calls here. Really good stuff.
Proc's still moving. Here comes 150. Looks like Zep is trying to also push higher here. It looks like for the regular session, 490 is the high. Pre-market 529.
Both those penny stocks cooled, by the way. RLYB, sorry, I couldn't get off the tip of my tongue there. RLYB and then the MBTX, I think that was. Both of those penny stocks, they both cooled. Got
to pull an ASST. Soundhound seems like it's starting to slow down here. Don't want to say that it's done going up, but it certainly is not parabolic like it was earlier. So kind of getting some sideways price action. Might need to just come in a little bit before it pushes higher. I don't want to predict the price action of Soundhound, but seems like if it does come in, VWAP's going to be where we need to see it support.
All right, so really quickly here, I'm going to pick a bone here with Lion. Lion, I love you, but I'm going to pick a bone with you anyway, just because I know you can handle it. More money printing, more inflation, more debt equals gold going to 5,000 soon. I'll take the other side of that. First of all, I think there's a lot of overreacting to the bill. But with that aside, looking at the gold chart here, this is sideways since the middle of April. So right after the Liberation Day tariff thing, when everything kind of shook out there, this is going sideways. This tells me that the market, at least the traders so far, don't think that that gold is necessarily going higher. At least not yet. Maybe something changes here, but I think the sideways action here, this almost tells me that we're at an interim top, to be quite honest with you. And the figures there about the bill adding to the debt don't at all account for any of the growth prospects that's in there. Gold actually sinking here now. Literally, as we speak, this down 1%. Kathy saying JP Morgan raised their gold prediction or their price target to 4,000.
Proc halted. This might be it. We could, out of this halt, get that pop and then a big drop. Be very careful with what you do with Proc now.
Okay.
Looks like Cooler is below the open now, trying to get some support. Let's see here what else we have. Looks like AMD is getting some movement here, trying to take out some of the pre-market highs. It's approaching it. The pre-market high 137.72. We're at 137 and change, like 137.30. Trying to get up to these highs. When's the last time we were up here? Oh, not that long ago. So late last month. Still looks like this wants to go higher though.
I'm talking about the bill, Lion. There's provisions in there that are supposed to accelerate the growth past the 2%. And the adding of the trillion from that is because the tax cuts aren't getting canceled. Believe me, we'd be in a lot worse shape if those tax cuts expired. But again, we'll see how it shakes out. I'll be willing to play that either way. The only point that I was making is that the chart, at least the daily chart for GLD, shows that the momentum has at least subsided. Now, you had said it's the calm before the storm. Can't argue with that. If there is a storm, you're gonna end up being right about that. But the chart not telling us that gold is going higher, not yet. Remember, market's always pricing in 6 months in advance on that as well. I'm still waiting for this Proc. I want to see what happens to Proc when this gets out. Soundhound looks like it might not be done. 1350 might be that next spot there. We'll see if it breaks out of the high from the last 5-minute window. That value 1342.
Just kind of looking for something that's got a good setup here. We do have LAES coming down to VWAP. I don't know that it's going to get support there. Not liking the way the MACD is looking, but it might turn around. BMNR, this thing finally getting some downside price action. Just lost the VWAP. This could continue lower. I'd be looking for some support around 118.
It's at its VWAP right now, basically.
And it's trying to recapture it too. Looks like it's above it at the moment. Well, it keeps going above and beneath. Excuse me.
Yeah,
let's see here.
Right now. No, you're good, dude.
Workhorse. What? Is he saying workhorse boom? That is the one that you were talking about, WKHS?
And I don't know if anyone caught it, but I actually clicked on that by accident earlier today because it was on the scanner earlier. This stock is up by 38.3% here.
What happened?
It's actually crossing the VWAP right now.
Just kind of a speculative question. Are we seeing movement in workhorse because Tesla CEO is potentially starting a political party? Is that no, seriously? Does that mean that these EVs are going to come back because the guy that's running the show on the one of the most popular EV companies in the world is now getting taken away from the business? I mean, is that the thought here? I help me out here with why workhorse is moving.
Oh, it's moving because it was a 95% on the Tuna AI pre-market signal.
There it is. That's got to be the reason.
Sorry, 13. That was just really good timing. You know what? I don't know necessarily why this is moving. I will say this is one of those stocks that day traders like to get a hold of. Float sub 10 million, so you can actually do some damage pushing this around. I understand the thesis there of it kind of fitting in. You know, what's bad for Tesla might be good for all the other EV companies. That does make sense to me. But I'm not sure that's worth 40%.
It's probably because also a little bit of a squeeze too. Not really in the parameters we're looking for, but you know.
Thinking about it, Workhorse makes Mullen look like Rolls Royce.
Thanks for the heads up, Jacob. Proc is about to open. Those of you that are trading it, get ready.
Okay, I'll keep it up here. Proc dude, it's 165. It's literally at the trend line. Are you kidding me?
And it's going to halt again, it looks like. Yep, there it is, halted.
Proc halted again at the trend line.
That could have been either your exit or yeah. I mean, I think if I was going to trade it all the way up to that trend line, that was the exit there.
Sorry, we just opened a treasure chest because Tuna told us about that one.
Thank you, Tuna. Looks like some of these names are starting to put in bottoms that we were looking at.
What a move on Proc. I'm disappointed.
Starting to get Iron Horse trying to turn around here. It has a task of recapturing VWAP, so I'm not really, putting a whole bunch of faith in that one. Looks like NDRA is curling back up, looking to recapture VWAP.
Brian, out of Proc right before the halt. Collect that money, put it in your pocket. That is so well done. Agree, 13.
Well done. And then Smoke Tuna also out at 160. All right, guys. Gonna be a good day for y'all.
How's Bitcoin looking here? Bitcoin pulled off the highs there, but it's still holding at 109 on the futures. Ray.
Starting to see some of these names turn around.
Mag 7 indeed is weak, although Apple looks like it might be trying to get back to balance. And interestingly enough, Tesla is stronger than the Mag 7.
And DRA trying to recapture VWAP. Actually, I think it already has. That one's coming back up. Let's see if it can hold. Now we are getting some selling in Soundhound finally. Might end up seeing some lower prints in this one. That's had a really good morning. But one thing I would like to see this do is not lose to 1245.
Izzy 0 for 1 on Amazon. That just proves that Izzy's a real dude there. You don't win them all. Izzy, let me ask you next then. First of all, have you traded Amazon around Prime Day? There was a question here earlier. Who was that? I think it was, Levy DeHaan, Adventures of a Full-Time Single Dad. Okay, interesting long name there. Any thought on why Amazon would be down on Prime Day? It almost seems like it's a sell the news event. I feel like we have this for Prime Day. I feel like this is not a new phenomenon for Prime Day. That's why I wanted to ask Izzy, have you traded this around other either Prime Days, Black Fridays, any of these big sale days that Amazon does? The one thing that I will say is that they start leaking positive sales data several days down the road for this. You might see a pop in the stock, but this to me feels like sell the news. We also have the market kind of rolling over from its pre-market highs here. SPY down a tenth, S&P futures down 0.12%.
Yeah, getting a mention, not in this chat, but a different one about rocket companies trying to recapture 14. We went and they were trading over the 200-day SMA, and we got rejected by the 20-day SMA. But this is looking quite similar to the price action we got last month on June 17th and 18th, where we kind of, let's see, June 17th and 18th, little bit skewed, but today and yesterday got some pretty close to some matching candles here. Could be some more tweezer bottoms or some more chopsticks down here. Now, if we can get above 14, this may end up trading back up into this consolidation area. Maybe even go for 16 this time around. Just kind of interesting that we had that very similar price action, over the past couple of days as we were getting in the middle of June.
What I said yesterday on Happy Hour when we talked about Rocket is I would love to see just an immediate bounce back here, because this actually sets up a higher low on the chart. Everything else 13 just said about the chart is absolutely correct and applies here. In fact, I have that $16 target marked off. So we'll see if Rocket firms up here. We'll definitely need to close above this 1387. That to me just kind of invalidates the move down yesterday that we saw.
All right. I was just looking at another one that was turning around. NDRA. So that was another one that was mentioned. This was turning around. We did recapture VWAP. Now we're looking at it as support. Has to get through this, 980 area here. Seems like that was also a level going into the open and during the pre-market. We probably even talked about it. Don't know if that was the exact level, but let's get a break above 980 so we can see 10 again. Starting to see some of these begin to turn around. Wondering if we're going to get that upside. Not sure about BMNR. That's still trading beneath its VWAP, though it's trying to go back up toward it. Soundhound recapturing 13 after getting support from its VWAP. See if that can continue to rise. What are you looking at right now?
SBET here. This actually in the process of curling off of the pullback. 1483 is the VWAP that I have for a potential cross.
Proc is open. Popped up to 179, and now we're back to 168.
Guys,
is it going to break or not?
Anyone that loaded around tuna, I would definitely use this pop as a reason to raise some cash off that position. You don't want to sell it all, that's fine, but this is a pretty nice move there. I would at least protect your thing and sell partial.
People selling, people buying. There's a fight happening right there with that one.
There sure is. Marty says 3 likes today because that's how I roll. Marty, you're going to get a couple of cash register rings there. Also, you're going to get Chewbacca as a lifetime friend.
Yeah. Proc making some lower prints now. Still getting bought. Anyone know what Google dumping? Is it dumping? It's down 1%.
I think that's just moving with the NASDAQ, right? Well, no, NASDAQ's only down 0.1%. So let's see. Do we have anything here on Google?
Looks like there's a Wells Fargo price target. They raised it to 177, which we were trading above that earlier this morning. So maybe some folks taking profit, thinking that with the way Wells Fargo sees it is about where they need to make an exit. Maybe. I don't know if there's any other news that would be pulling it down. That's the one that stands out the most. Roth MKM sticks to its buy rating. Wells Fargo maintains equal weight. Price target raised to 205 from Roth Capital. Yeah, I don't know what else. All right, so
let's going for a push.
So there it is.
Yeah. Here, sorry, I wanted to do so. Let me queue up Zep, but I also wanted to go real quick. Man, I tell you what, I didn't have that flagged at all. Thought that was going to be kind of weak here today.
The 575 might be where you see resistance in Zep. There's another one of those trend lines you can draw from the pre-market. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, let me go back to that here in one sec. I wanted to finish up really quick on Google. Guys, this is what I'm looking at on Google. We do have a possible head and shoulders forming here. Now, the pullback today, it's still holding us above the 200-day, that value there at 174.5. This, to me, is going to be key. If we lose this 174.5, I think your head and shoulders is going to be more prominent, and I think a move back down to the 160 area likely on Google. If you get the rug pull, the market rug pull that Lion's been begging for here, Google will be subject to that. I'm not sure that we get that. Seasonality doesn't say that we get that, but that's not set in stone. So there on Google. Okay, 13. Sorry about that. Here's your Zep chart back.
You just use those highs to draw a trend line.
Yep, I see you.
And we went right to it, actually. Just a moment ago, we went right to it.
Yeah, we sure did. Look at that.
Also, where was it? Proc. After hitting that 179, it backed off, but it's still trying to take it out again. Right back up to that trend line. 170.
I've got it above now. Here we go.
And you know what? If this continues to go up, hey, we already had our trade. We already made the money, right? We're not going to get the FOMO and try to jump into this now when it's still trying to print, session highs. Not a great idea.
No, the trade was earlier. The trade was called live here by Tuna on this name, actually. Number of good calls here out of the group today. And I don't just mean you and me, 13. I mean the group. The folks that decide to show up every day and help out the rest of the group. God, that's why we have the best.
Hey, Samel, how's your AMD trade working? Because I noticed that's just printed 138.
I thought for sure you were about to ask her how Taylor Fritz was doing in his match, but AMD, that makes a little bit more sense. AMD's still looking at a 140 break here, if we can get that.
Let's see. I'm getting asked about how strong I see the resistance around the 168 area for GRYP. I don't think we've looked at that one this morning. Let's take a look.
No.
Griffin Digital Mining?
No, I don't think we looked at this here today. I think we looked at this either yesterday or late last week. This is the one with was there a Trump connection here? Trump coin or something? Let me check.
Like one of the earliest areas of resistance I see is about 155. There's a good amount of consolidation to get through back from last year. I'd say I can see your 165 area. I can see how that could be possible in that consolidation, but it's in the same kind of situation. The 155 level I just mentioned it's in some consolidation. You're going to see some sellers. So can it push higher into that? Potentially, but we are already pretty extended here. I don't want to tell you what to do with your stock, but I think I could say that the area that we're coming up into, pretty significant resistance. Maybe it does push higher, but we're going to need to see better volume than this. I think that's what I would have to leave you with. We need to see better volume, and I'm not sure if we're going to get that with how extended this is right now.
Yeah. So this GRYP, this was indeed the Trump-backed miner. So.
Okay.
S&P, by the way, sorry, 13 SPY held 620 and bounced at least temporarily here.
And Samel, excellent stuff. I'm glad. I know, yeah, it is a little slow, but I mean, the past 10 minutes have been really awesome for AMD, and it's just continuing to move up here.
It's also been more awesome for Tesla. Look at Tesla.
Great job, Samel. Great job.
Sabalenka's even now. She got that second set. Okay, that's a good match. Look at Tesla recapturing 300. We definitely want to see a close above that.
Wow.
Definitely want to see a close above that.
All right, let's see where AMD might go to here, because this is just awesome. Nice drop in AMD this over the past couple of weeks to the hold on, I'm sorry, that's my broker account. Let me not look at that. Let me look at the Benzinga chart. So the support from the 500-day SMA, that's what I was looking for. And seems like 140 is going to be the level where I would be like, well, maybe you want to take profit there on the trade, maybe not, I don't know, but 140 certainly looks like a level of resistance at this particular stage. So if you're trading it and you're looking to sell and move on to something else, maybe 140 is the spot. Otherwise, if this is going to be a longer hold for you, then just have to wait that resistance at 140 out, because we've already printed higher this past month.
Was there any news that came out? Market's got kind of the futures here anyway, have kind of a power candle.
Let us see.
10:02, that was a half an hour ago. Reuters reports Japanese trade negotiator had a phone call with U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent. Japan agreed to continue vigorous talks on tariffs. Japan continues to seek mutually beneficial agreement with the U.S. And I don't think there's really any news there.
Well, I mean, it's just another one of those self-resolving things. Of course, Trump issues all these tariffs and letters out, and then, of course, what's the only way that they're going to get resolved? If either these countries do what he wants them to do, or he says that the tariffs are off. It's a very, very narrow amount of results to drive the market higher. But
yeah,
that 25% Japanese tariff is lessened. Market's going to go up.
Yeah, and the thing here, the reason why I'm bringing this up is I think the market sees through some of that rhetoric at this point, and I'm not sure that this headline is what's responsible for this move higher. It's basically just a corrective move. I probably shouldn't even say it's a move higher. Basically, just a corrective move.
Proc halted to the upside, and then it just unhalted now, and it's printing. Let's see, the high is 197. It's looking for two. Okay, that's $2. If you're still in this, I'd still be selling into this strength. I don't know how high this is going to go. I do not know. The CEP, we just talked about that one. That just broke through that trend line. So this news is causing the market to rip. We also have another headline here about Iran's foreign minister talking about the situation over there. I don't know if that's causing this move or not. I'd say it's more of the. I'd say it's more of the. Yeah, I'd say it's more of the Japanese news.
Yeah. Indeed. Sideways action, says Anne Marie. That is exactly what we're seeing here today. I meant to go to this chart to pull something up, and now I can't even remember. TTB real quick, mentioning that RXRX is having a 13% move. This is interesting because I don't know if any of you folks remember, yesterday, RXRX really kind of sold off. We had a story here. Let me see if I can pull that just to kind of remind you on what was going on here. I've got that handy here because my producer is an organized fellow, and it makes it really easy for me. Here, this was the Google news, the Alphabet-backed drug discovery firm. They had human trials here and using AI and all of that. RXRX got a mention in this article. Yeah, Recursion Pharmaceuticals expects programs to begin to read out human studies next year. Interesting that this is popping here today. For anyone trading RXRX, here's the headline to that article. I don't know if I need to spend more time on it, but I mentioned it yesterday, didn't come back to it because it really just kind of fell out of bed yesterday. Today, completely reversed that. and it's moving substantially higher. So
thoughts on mRNA weekly chart?
I hope it goes to 0. Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud? My bad. Here.
You may have. It doesn't look like that's happening soon. What you were asking for. It looks to me, well, this is a recapture of the 20-week SMA that we got last month. That's something we haven't seen in over a year, or about a year. But that 50-week SMA, that appears to be where a lot of the resistance is, because it lines up with what appears to be like $42, $43. If you look at the price action from October to January, that's kind of the area where it's been struggling to recapture. So I would think somewhere around 44, 45. That's maybe even a little bit higher than that. That's where the resistance, it looks like, could be. Still has a lot of other levels to get through, but if it manages to push up, I think that 50-week SMA is the one to watch for.
Okay, 50-week SMA here, 43.47 on that target on mRNA. Okay, I put this comment on here to remind me, because this is what I've been trying to get to for a few minutes here. Also, side note, C-Boogie, I see your name, and the first thing I think of is someone pour me up a double shot of whiskey. And it's just like, I can't help it. Like, the song's on my golf playlist. It's on the radio all the time, and your handle reminds me of that. Now, to get to your actual request here regarding Uber, so do you can Uber have a pullback this week? Yes, I definitely think it can. I think that this is going to try and go for 100, so it might just kind of trade back and forth here a little bit and then go for 100. Honestly, though, if we do get that 100, I'd be looking at this trend line here on a pullback, so low 90s on that. The other thing, really quickly, just to kind of tie this together, I had talked about Uber a little bit this morning. I was actually hoping Izzy was going to be around. Izzy, let me know what you think about Bill Ackman. I asked the group earlier. Pershing Square freshly acquired 30.301 million shares of Uber, and this makes it the hedge fund's largest position at the end of the first quarter. So if you bet on Ackman being right, I think you got to like Uber here. Now, you were asking if it could have a short-term pullback. Sure, it could. I gave you the targets I think that it might go to if it does that. But I still think Uber here, this is going to print 100.
Billy F. is mentioning QS is ripping. Indeed, that is having a really good day today. Resistance areas I see for this, actually just one kind of resistance area next, I think could be between 950 and 10. Don't know if we're going to see that print today, but that's the on the daily chart. That's where I'd be looking at resistance.
Oh, Jay Wild, TSLL got more than I should have yesterday. So that's interesting with this huge Tesla move higher here. TSLL, the way to play that. I think we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? Nice little move here. TSLL plus 6.5%.
SBET moving up, says Mimi. And Tom B, you're saying that volume on proc is 200 times what it normally is. We are going to return, like a recovery here on some of these names, but it's quite slow. We have still have halts on proc and ZEP.
What a call that proc was.
Yeah, I'm wondering when we're going to get those unhalted. As a matter of fact, there's proc unhalted right now. 231 is the high.
Real quick on proc here. Did you just say it was 20 times the average volume? First of all,
200 times.
200 times. Yeah. Okay. Because the relative volume. So I have a column here that I use all of the time. A percent relative volume versus the 60-day average. This is at 17,000%. The 60-day relative volume average. 17,000%. The only one higher that on my list right here is RLYB, that penny stock.
Those phase 2 results. Take care, Line.
Take care of yourself. Pete, CNC. This is a good mention here. We took this off the screen. Last week's huge dropper, CNC, consolidated between 32.85 and 31.10. That's actually a pretty tight range there. Might be a good to keep an eye on for a multi-week swing trade. Look at Pete giving us the trading idea here. And remember what we had said when this initially came out, when this initially dropped, we had said, folks, be careful with trading this one. This one might act like UNH. I understand some of the circumstances were different here, but we talked about this maybe having multiple days of this testing the downside and really kind of waiting for it to confirm that the move down is done. Well, Pete, doing something similar here, giving you this range, this consolidation range. If it starts to break out at the top of that range, maybe your bottom is in, and now maybe we can be looking at a long side trade there. You know, I wonder what the options look like for CNC. Maybe that's one we can ask Anne-Marie about. Anne-Marie, you're out there, right? Let me take a look here at CNC option chain, see what I said C way too many times right there.
Proc is halted again. 233 is the high now. Bullish looking candles on the way up, but this is the I think the third halt. So I would probably want to exercise some more caution on this if you're still in it. We also just had ZEP on halt that hit 630 and is testing that trend line that we drew.
Lion, if you want to place in Elon's new party, I highly advise you start by calling him Musk instead of Mask. I suspect that if you get his last name wrong, you will not have a spot in that party. Just FYI, boss.
All right, well, ZEP and Proc, two of the really good ones today. ZEP is kind of coming off that high. It just printed 641, still above the trend line that we drew. And Soundhound still above 13. This looks like it's trying to turn around as well. Volume's not as good as it was earlier. And as Lion mentioned before, we are past that 1030 point, so we're going to likely see some volume, some good amount of volume leave the market. Might not get the follow through on these trades, so just be careful with what we're trading at this point, because we might not have the volume to get to some of the levels we're looking for. Where to buy shares of American Party? You know what? When we find out, we'll let you know.
I can look at that. Okay, Anne-Marie, awesome.
And Tom V, there you go. So you're still in Proc and you're still moving your stops up. I think that's the way to do it at this point.
Yeah, that's how you exit. Now just keep moving them up. Stop out of it. That yank on the SPY is still holding 620. That just looks like trading action. That looks like the sideways action there.
Producer mentioning PRTY.
No, I think that's because of what you were just saying there. I think that has to do with where do you buy part of the America? It was Smoke Tuna. Where to buy shares of the American Party? And the producer says ticker PRTY. He's kidding, of course.
You knocked that off. I actually looked up the ticker. MU is positive. Yeah, I haven't taken a look at that one in a couple of days. That one, very similar looking to AMD. And, we did need to see a cool off in a lot of those tech names that were just on an absolute tear. So This is one of them. We needed to see this. It's nice that it, jumped off of the 70s and 80s RSI. Not too far away from it still, but it needed to cool off. We got, and sure enough, we got the test of the 20-day SMA. We're getting some support from that. It's moving up and away from that. 130 is the next is the resistance level we have here for Micron. We already hit that once on June 26th. So that's the level I'd be keeping an eye on for more upside. That's resistance right there at 130.
So here you go. Interestingly enough, with that poll that we just had on the market, I think I found the reason for that. Producer, shout out to the producer. He called this earlier today. He called it in private because it was in his notes to me, but said that a truth bomb is always possible here. Trump, Tariffs will start being paid on August 1st, 2025. Okay. Listen up to this, folks, because a lot of people are getting this wrong. There has been no change to this date, and there will be no change. In other words, all money will be due and payable starting August 1st. No extensions will be granted. That's got to be why the market pulled there in the last 5 minutes. That's the saber-rattling re-tariffs coming to play. That does kind of feel like it was aimed at Japan. That's just my read on it. That's just my opinion. Don't kill me for it.
I know, and we're probably not going to get anything out of them until after they have their election. Let me see if I can get the exact.
Yeah, that's right. Tom was talking. Oh, good mention. 13. Damn, dude. Proc, by the way, halted to the downside.
And that is the House of Councilors election that takes place on July 20th. So I think once that's out of the way, we're probably going to see something go on with between the U.S. and Japan, but prior to that August 1st. So we'll see. But I think that date's very important for U.S. relations with Japan. OCC turning around. That one was mentioned earlier. That's optical cable. Looking for VWAP. What else is trying to turn around here? Not LAES. That's going lower. BMNR. This one's turning around, trying to push higher. Just recaptured VWAP. Cooler was also trying to do the same thing. I don't think we can really say that this is turned around yet, although it looks like it is trying. SBET, that's down at VWAP. Soundhound coming off of VWAP or down to it again. I'm sorry, what?
No, you're actually trying to work. I'm out here laughing because thinking about it is a hilarious viewer. Aimed at Japan, is that why you called it a truth bomb? No, dude, that's not. I called it a truth bomb because that's what my producer called it earlier. Wing Trader saying, how many times was there no change? There was only one change. There was the 90-day extension. Everything else is just people misinterpreting it. He's been very, very clear.
Yeah, and getting
Jeff, hit it. Those pauses are not pauses. They're not stop negotiations. We tried to cover that here.
Zep, this is continuing to push higher, and Billy is also mentioning that. He said look to the left. So let's see where we.
Which ticker? Sorry,
Zep. ZEP.
Yeah.
So it looks to me like about 765 would be another resistance area. That's actually maybe more like 770, but that area right there certainly does stand out. And of course, as does 840. What do you see there, Billy? Those are the areas I see.
Taylor Fritz won his match. On to the semis. USA.
All right, so just kind of waiting to see if something's going to do something.
I'm waiting to see if something is going to do something. That is a shirt. That is a shirt.
It's a highly technical process.
Yeah, indeed it is.
It looks like AMD is setting up to push higher, though. Looking for 139. We did run all the way up to 138.72. Kind of trade a little bit sideways, putting in some pretty long wicks to the underside there. That's an indication that buyers are stepping in, trying to push this up. So let's see if we get that 139 print.
Damn, dude, Amazon next leg down. That did break that low that we had here. Looks like it tried to bounce off 221, snapped it. Now it's down 219. Amazon, rough day for Amazon here today. Amazon down 1.6% here.
Thinking about it's playing with fire.
It was fire. Not thinking about it. It was not. Smoke Tuna, why did the Penguins slip into Trump's tariff meeting? It wanted to break the ice with a deal on frozen fish imports. Smoke Tuna, I appreciate you trying to find humor in what's going on. Better for all of us. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to have this one up there. Meant to go to my main workspace.
Yeah, Pete. Siri, that's one of the long-term space names that I do like. And one of the reasons was that, Berkshire was loading up on it. And I think they just added some more. This I'm looking for a move over 25 at this one. That seems to be a big resistance area in SIRI. But this does pay a dividend. One of the few space stocks that do. We are getting some real weakness here in Soundhound. That's moving away from 13 to the downside. Looking for 1245 support if it gets that low. We are now finally getting some come down to earth reality here with PROK. We are getting halt downs as opposed to halt ups. So after those 3 halt ups that I was mentioning about how we could see this start to happen now, second halt to the downside.
And who set their stops? Because 13 said, hey, maybe raise your stops here.
Yep. That's it. I don't remember exactly who it was, but they were talking about it.
It was a great call. That's what I remember. Sounds like that person's protected.
Yep. And then Zep, not halted to the downside, but also pulling as well. Still above VWAP, though.
TTB saying Amazon Prime Day first few hours showing 14% less sales than last year. TTB, where do you get that data? That was something that I briefly kind of mentioned that earlier. Where do you get that data? And how accurate is that data?
That was Tom. Well done, Tom.
There you go. Way to go.
And, I guess that's 1 penny away from his stop. Excellent. Great. Amazon
stops are for quitters, Jay.
Well, some people just can't quit them. Anyway, the Amazon thing being 4 days long, I guess maybe because you have more time, people aren't going to rush out and do this. But at the same time, I really do view that as an indication that there's a bit of struggling happening here with Amazon. That their sales just aren't great, so they have to make it longer. So this way.
Now they did. You know what's funny about that 13? There was a number of things that they were outlining here. Like the only items that were eligible for this had to have free shipping, couldn't be a highly returned item, needed to have a star rating. I can't remember what it was. Might have been 4.2 or higher or something like that. There were like a number of factors that Amazon had for products to be sale ready this year in the hopes that they'd have some more sales. And I will say this, how much time do we have? Okay, 5 minutes. I'll be very, very quick, less than a minute. I'm in trouble here. I have my 55-inch TV that I have in my living room. It's a Samsung. One of its panels is going dark. It looks bad. And I'm going to have to replace. I can still watch it, but I'm going to have to replace it before football season. So I was looking at replacement televisions, and the Samsung 4K frame TV, the one that looks like a piece of art, that when you turn, you can actually make it look like a painting.
Yep.
It's like $1,000 at Costco, and I saw that the same TV, same size, same quality, same refresh rate, was on sale on Prime Day for $797. I almost bought it, but I was like, you should do some more research first just to make sure you're about to start the show here. Maybe don't order that right away. But that's like an example. That's not like a crappy Westinghouse TV or something. You know what I mean? Like that's actually something that people would buy. I wonder how much better the quality of items are going to be this time around.
I don't know, and I get the sense that a lot of this these sales, this sale in particular that they're having is to kind of get rid of some of their China stuff.
Crow, are you for real here? That happened to one of my TVs as well, but I smacked it on the back. This better not be like a joke troll from the Crow here, and it was fixed. I'll take a picture and DM it to you, and you tell me if it looked the same. I will consider slapping it. And for those of you that want to clip this and make a joke out of me, I'm going to give you a golden ticket. I'd like to slap it on its backside. If that has a chance of fixing it, I'll give it a shot, Crow.
Do your work, producer. Do your work.
Look, sometimes you just, if you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at?
All right. I think, folks, you need to give a like for Ryan slapping the back of his TV. In the meantime, we can also look at SQNS. That's We got a bit of a trend line here that it's trying to trade up to and break out of. Looks like just above $2 is that breakout spot. As long as it holds 190, we might see that move.
Kevin, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Have a good one. All right, what time are we at here? We got 2 minutes, 13.
2 minutes of talking about slapping TVs.
No, we already did that.
Okay. Well, looks like the market's getting slapped instead.
Still holding 620 on the SPY, though. It's still, Anne-Marie had this pegged. She had said earlier this was just sideways. That's what it feels like to me. I know we're reacting to every up move and every down move, but basically when you net it out, it's sideways.
Yeah, we're still inside all the price action from yesterday. So just more of an inside day right now. We would have to break beneath 618 to print some new downside levels. And we would have to get above the previous the all-time high in order to print new highs.
David, so. I have a few stocks I would like to slap. Yeah, me too. Me too, brother. Samel, Sabalenka's behind. I'll tell you what, if Sabalenka loses, that entire the women's side of the draw, that is opened up because she's an absolute monster. I would be shocked if she lost. Okay, 13. Let's see what the time is here. We got 30 seconds before we bring on Anne-Marie. How about some closing words for the group here?
Well, we tried to make the best of it as we could. We did have some really great calls by Tuna and Tom and some others. So hopefully we all made some money here today and had a great day. I look forward to tomorrow and see if we can get some more movers that don't react so negatively as they did today. But still a pretty good day. Hope everybody had a good time. I'll be back here tomorrow. Have a good time with Anne-Marie. She's wonderful, and I'll see you later. Take care, everybody.
Beautiful. That is 13. And since he doesn't give dad advice, I'll give you a dad joke instead. I told a joke on Google Meet, and no one laughed. Turns out I'm not even remotely funny. All right, 13. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, boss. All right, now 13's departure leaves room for Anne-Marie. Let's check in with her. Anne-Marie, how you doing today? Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you. How's it going?
It's going great. Look, first things first here. Can I get a finger check? You got all 10 from the Thanksgiving, for heaven's sake, Ryan. Yeah. From the 4th of July holiday there. She does. We're off. Let's go, Anne-Marie. What do you got for us here today?
Well, I wanted to talk about some of the stocks that we discussed. I also wanted to, I don't know if you've had a chance to share it, but I've been having loads of fun with ChatGPT and Perplexity. And I want to share this study with the group for a super trend. And so I'm going to put it in the private chat here. Maybe you can send it over.
Absolutely, I can.
It's a really great one. Absolutely love it. And we can talk about what's happening with CNC first.
Perfect.
Because it feels pretty dramatic. And it's coming into an earnings event that looks like, ooh, what day is that? 7/25. So it's a couple of weeks down the road, but
and that's obviously, a Friday.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of news because we don't see, I don't know why all my time and sales are disappearing here, but we just had 99,000 of them. Somebody sold 100,000 shares almost in one clip. I don't know what news is going on here, but there's a lot of liquidation here. A lot of people trying to buy the bottom. If we take a look at the price action, we have a little bit of an ugly head and shoulders pattern here. And if that confirms.
Did you want the news responsible for the big candle down?
Sure.
Okay, so they pulled their guidance with some of the big beautiful bill and the health coverage thing. CNC opted to pull their guidance. That's what was responsible for that huge candle down. Every subsequent candle was just the bottoming process.
Okay. So what we have here is this is the last area of broad accumulation, right? Remember, markets, the purpose of a market is to facilitate trade. And so traders will accumulate and then distribute at a profit or liquidate at a discount, right? Maybe they distribute at a profit to the downside, whichever one that they're sitting. And so this is coming right into the middle of this move. So a couple of things could happen here. My thought is that it spends maybe what do we say? Maybe a week or two trying to find a bottom, or maybe a week trying to find a bottom. But this is the halfway point from the last time they accumulated for a long period of time before breaking out and attempting to move higher. So my thought is potentially a flush down and then a bounce up, but that flush down could go all the way to 25. So if we were to take a look at that trade, a couple of things that we could look at. We could, this would need to be August because I thought the earnings were then, so I will change that. If you think the stock is going to continue to fade, it's pretty cheap to buy the 3250 put and watch it fall into frontline support. So you'd want to do the 3250 put. It's going for 55 cents. You'd set an alert on the charts. Come on. Okay, you set an alert on the charts for round and about 30, which is a good round number, and then you'd want to take your money. That's my thought. 30 is a good round number. A lot of people might come in. Spinning wheel of death right here, but you know what you need to do, right? So do that from that perspective. If you're thinking about going long, I would wait until after the earnings and see exactly what they said. Now, if they pull guidance and they give an earnings space, the release will probably be fairly muted. And so that might be a space where you can buy something in the longer term, but I would wait until August because we are in a formation right now where buy the dips are going to be really fairly significant. So if this fails after the earnings, don't put them in before. If this fails and it comes down to the 25s, you could probably buy the 25 calls and sell the 3250 puts, and buy the 3250 calls, and you'd probably get it for about 1/4 of the price that it's sitting at in the spread right now. So you would probably get that for $2 is my thought, but I would not position, I would not position anything here until after that earnings event. If it dips and it comes into the baseline of support, buy that base call, and you're easily, I think you get it for less than $2, and you've got time for it because every single dip is still getting bought in this market. Every dip. And so I would say that for anything that we're staring down. Something else that we are looking at here, you talked about the earnings event coming up in Morgan Stanley, right? MS?
Yep.
When is that?
Let me pull that for you here. Sorry, I didn't have it here. One sec.
All right. Looks to me like, come on, Fred.
8 days, Wednesday, July 16th, before the market opens. That means we need to be positioned on Tuesday if we're going to play options.
Yes. And so I would look at, here's what the chart is saying. This is the largest broad-based accumulation event. Let's go to the weekly so we can stare it down. If people are looking for directional moves today, they're going to get their face ripped off in the broad markets. It's just very sideways. So this movement, lots of accumulation between 70 and 100. It broke out. The 200% Fibonacci extension would be round at about 150, right? It's breaking out. Trend is positive. Our super trend shows the first frontline support zone at around 137 and the second one around 135. Breaking out, it's got motion that literally could put it up way into the 170s as it moves forward. But let's take a look at the trades that we can take. So we have earnings. If you are a gunslinger, you can do a couple of things. Go to the 18th of July, and you can do two things. If you think it's going to 150, you're very bullish on it, I would just take the spread. 150 to 155 is 56 cents, right? $4.50 upside almost. You could go there. If you think it's going to pull back, it'll pull back directly into earnings, and then they're going to buy the dip. So post earnings trade, after the earnings come out, maybe the 18th, 17th, 18th of July, if it comes into 135, I would buy the 135, 150, 165 butterfly. This is post earnings. So I'm going to guess if it comes in this shallow, you're going to get it for about, again, less than $2, somewhere around that. Because the first thing we'll have is volatility collapse, and then we're going to have all the buyers rush in. And so buying this now, although there's $5.89 to the cost, it's got a $15 upside event. Well, my thought is if the chart fades, that butterfly is going to be an absolutely beautiful spread to take us into the edge of August and September. Traditionally, these presidential cycle events, the year before midterm gives us the strongest fourth quarter and end of the third quarter in general. So dip buys look like the best bet.
Interesting. So just to thinking ahead here, we might be able to do the call spread, the 150, 155 call spread at 57 cents for earnings. And then if it ends up sinking, all right, if it has a poor earnings and your call spread gets wiped out, then maybe look at the August fly there. If this comes back, so if it sells off to that what you had 135, this sells off to that 135 level and holds there. And this comes back to 142 after that. You're looking at, you said what, 250 maybe on that fly?
Yes, easily.
And so this would be back at 6. That looks like that's what, 2.5 times?
Yes. Yeah. This one I'm looking for about a 300 to 400% return.
Okay.
If it just returns to the price. And so we're going to have the volatility crush that comes right after the earnings get released. Now, if you're bearish and you think it's going to come in, or you're saying, hey, listen, why don't I do a double-sided move? Why don't I buy the call spread and buy the put spread? It gives you a condor for about $1.15, something like that. You're still got a 350 upside, which is, 2.5 times on either side if it holds.
Okay.
The implied vol is $7, and so that brings us right to 135 on the put side and right to 150 on the call side. So that's why I chose the strikes. It also converged very nicely with the support and resistance we see on the chart. 135 and 150. So really nice, clean setup. It looks really good. I like the setups here. I'm inclined to do the call spread and the put spread. I don't want to do the butterfly here because it's so close to the edge of the earnings event that there's just not a lot of premium. And if it blows out the sides, then, I'm down the whole amount.
Yeah.
So better to do the spread, get 200% return. If it moves into target, Bob's your uncle.
Okay, good setup there, Morgan Stanley. All right, Goldman Sachs next. Let me ask you, we've got two fins here. What are your thoughts on the financials going into the second half of the year here? Do you like them, dislike them, you care?
I do care very much. The big thing about financials is if they toe the party line, and of course, every time I do have to pull the tinfoil hat out of the bottom drawer,
Okay.
if they toe the party line and they say, okay, we know the administration wants us to buy longer term treasuries, it's going to compress certain abilities for them to make money on private equity, especially as there's all kinds of noise about what's going on with private equity. That's the first thing. If that's the case, earnings could come in a little. If they come out and they say, hey, listen, tariffs are truly a transitionary effect, we're going to figure it all out, we're going to give upside guidance. Goldman Sachs is already moving the end of the year target to 6,900. And so they might just go full bore and move to the upside. But how they perform is going to be very, very important. Very important in my mind. So just an FYI there. So as we take a look at Goldman, huge area of inventory accumulation from about July of 2021 to the breakout area of the end of April. This chart has been on a magnificent upside tear. It's now got it's right over 2x of this measured move here. My thought is a little bit of compression into support. And so what might that look like? Well, already today, this week, it's fading and trying to fill the gap. There's a gap at 690. Okay, so earnings coming on the 16th, again, just like Morgan Stanley. So there's a gunslinger trade here, and then there's the trade after the earnings. Again, every single dip is getting bought. So the dip is either at 690 or 660. That's my thought. All right, so let's have a look. And if we expand, our 300% fib puts us all the way at 780. If this market just continues the way it's going and everyone gets to the 6,900, there's no doubt about the fact that this chart is going to try and hit 750, right? So let's take a look. First, we're going to look at the chains. They're looking for a $34 move. So a $34 move puts us at, oh, surprise, 660 if it actually moves, and then 690. So a couple of things we can look at. The very baseline event is at 660. So with 2 days to expiry, that's not a really great trade, this put spread, the 640, 630, because even if the price action rolls over to 650, it's not going to look very good for this put. So I would, because I've been looking at this one before, I would do 650 to 640 It's 91 cents if you think it's going to fade. If you think it's going to 750 or something more conservative, 730 to 740, that spread $1.88. Notice these spreads are $10 wide. You could go $5 wide if you like, and it would become, oops, wrong direction, Fred. 650 to 645, you're looking at 53 cents. If you're looking at the 630, excuse me, 730 to 735, it'll be $1 if you do both of them. Again, $1.50, whichever way they head. If they move right into their targets, you're going to have a nice move. My thought on this particular trade, if it fades, it's a lot better to use that 650 to 640 spread into the 25th, and the same for the call event. So my thought is 730 to 740. I like the $10 spread because if it expands, it's going to give you a ton of upside. And even with both of these, you've got $3.50 less than, and the upside is $6.50, which is a 200% return. And these are conservative estimates based on the spread of motion that they're pumping into the weekend formation. The second reason that the 25th works is because the implied vol is lower, right? It's 10% lower the following week. So that's what I would suggest. Post earnings, we would use the August formation from 685 to 700. I'd use the vertical spread only because if it starts running, it's very likely to keep running on the dips. And this one, I think this one is probably about 350. But again, that's almost 4.5x for this call spread on the dip. Again, the call spread is post earnings. Last one I want to cover, if that's
Absolutely.
okay, before any open events, is ConAgra.
Okay.
So ConAgra has had just a gigantic rollover. I mean, gigantic. And the selling is absolutely in continuation, right? We've got big selling numbers. They're selling every single dip here. I mean, every single pop, they are coming in and selling more and more. And so this one, very likely to go into the edge of all of this accumulation here. Let me draw a box around it. Right? They're going to be people that will really need to defend what's going on here. They have to defend it. And so that this makes for an interesting trade on two sides. Also, they are, oh, is there any news on this?
On CAG, let me check. I actually didn't even pull that up here today, but I can do that real fast.
Did they report today?
No, they report in 2 days. They report on July 10th before the market opens. I don't see any news here. Oh, excuse me. No, I don't see any news here. It said here that it receives a hold from RBC Capital, but I actually think that was from yesterday.
Okay, so clearly, look at this selling. Man, I wish I had seen this chart when it broke down. I truly do. This is absolutely incredible. It's fallen, what, 20%?
Is this maybe related to RFK's move against food dyes and stuff?
Oh, I think so.
Okay.
I absolutely think so. So the question is, how do they guide? And what's next? And so there is here, this is a widely institutionally held, um, this is a widely institutionally held instrument. And so if they dump past this 20, I mean, I wouldn't see institutional buying until about 16.
Wow.
So
I've
yeah.
got, by the way, I've got
So
institutional ownership figure of 85.6%.
yeah, it's huge. It's huge. So if you're a betting man and you go, you know what, 20 is a big fat round number. These guys are going to move up to 21. Let me move this one to August. Not traded. Hang on, 20. Okay, so if you're a betting man and you're like, yep, I want to see what goes on, you can take both sides of these. This is actually the call, the 21 call and the 20 put. You know, my thought would be the 20 put. But if people decide, hey, this thing is really going to move around, the chances of it having a very big reflexive move is there. Now, open-ended risk, of course. We've got 20 on the put, which they're calling for a $1.17 move, right? Which would put this under 19.50. And on the upside, it would give them almost 22. So if you want to see a big reflexive move, you could take one side or the other. If you wanted to give it a little time for continuation, you could pack in another week of rotation and choose a side. I suspect if it doesn't start forming a base at this 20 area, it is going to fall another 20%. And that's going to make this one very profitable, the
No
put
question.
side. But I think we need to wait until the price action stabilizes here, right? So it's sitting here still. This is the third week that it's trying to hold the floor at 2020. Another reason that I think it's potentially trying to put in a bottom. A lot of trapped sellers here. So if they are definitively short and they think it's, going to go to zero or whatever, and they start getting in front of their skis up over 22, we could have a real squeeze. So post earnings, the better bet for the long calls, pre earnings, the cheap short gives us a leveraged move that could be very, very significant.
Okay. All right. Awesome. We've got a little bit of time here. We've got less than 4 minutes here, so we're going to have to be quick. But what about spot, ticker SPOT?
Okay, so that's Spotify, right?
Yes.
Whoa. Oh, very interesting. Look at this. All right, I'm going to redraw these. Right? Very big upside rotation. The folks at IBD like to call this a base. Well, a lot of people call it a base. But you can see clear, I mean, very clear accumulation of inventory from about, looks like 109 all the way up to 350. If we do a measured move, on the low at 69.29, come on. See, my dexterity, folks, it's incredible. Incredibly bad is what I meant to say. So I'm telling you. Okay, so It broke over the 200%, so it literally doubled the price after it got out of here. Now we've got a little bit of reflexive action. Take a look at what's going on with oh, she's great.
That happens
She's
to me
so
all the
good at
time.
this. Take a look at momentum. Momentum is holding, but it's nowhere positive in general. Notice, see how this momentum level down here, this high, when it peaks, we know we rotate back into the moving average, and this moving average is a 14. And so here it is peaking again, starting to roll over. We expect rotation to the moving average. It pierces it much more dramatically and then moves up again. Once again, far away from that moving average, right? The high there is 785. That moving average is about 665 or so. What's it likely to do? Rotate into that moving average. So it's also got negative divergence. Notice momentum high up here, momentum high, higher high, lower momentum. That gives us a potential fade. And so that fade should easily pull in to the 667 to 650 area. You know, if we look at, wow, it's been a while since I've traded Spotify. If we take a look at August, no, we don't want to do August. We want to do a quick snap rotation using the 25th. And I would choose the spread there. I know we're running out of time, so I would definitely choose the spread there.
Real quick here, Anne-Marie, I know that the that accelerator product with Tim is out now. How are things going with that? Are you excited about that?
Yes, it's way fun. He is such an incredible analyst. He pops up these charts and I go, whoa, now I can do something with that. And so it's been a ton of fun. It's been a ton of fun.
Awesome. Be sure to check that out. Anne-Marie, really good stuff here today. Thank you as always. We'll see you on Friday next. All right.
My pleasure. Yes, absolutely.
All right. Take care. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, folks. That's going to be it here for us today, but don't go anywhere because I'm sending you to Paul Meeks next for Tech Tune Up. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll be back at this